Welcome to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet, the Xbox Drive. Before we get this show on the road, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and ring that bell on YouTube, and leave a 5-star rating or review on your podcatcher of choice. If you want to continue the conversation after the show, make sure you join the Carpool Gaming Discord. For exclusive content and all the Carpool shows in one simple feed, head over to patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Finally, head over to carpoolgaming.com for all of your merch needs. Now, with all that out of the way, you better buckle up, Buttercup, because it's time for the Xbox Drive.
Greater than X.
Hello, everybody! Oh my gosh. I'm so freaking hyped for this episode. Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. It has been a week. It feels like it's been like one day since we had Summer Game Fest, and it also feels like it's been 10 years. So
What is time?
What is time? Time is a construct. Here we are. But this is kind of a special episode because there's only not one, but two of us. There's just two of us here today. It is myself, of course, Fee, and I also have here Sean Capri. Sean, how are you doing?
Can't get rid of me. I'm still here. This show used to always be two people, so it's I don't know. Is it weird for people to like tune in and go like, "What? Two of you?" There's usually a whole crowd. There's a whole carpool of you.
That is true. We can still get in the carpool lane.
A gaggle of hosts.
Yes. It's just we have space in the vehicle for today, but I digress.
Yes.
I hope everyone who's I hope Bowz is having fun. I hope Mitch is having fun, whatever he's doing currently. But yeah, oh my goodness, what a week. What a week, Sean. How are you doing?
So I just need to say this really quickly because you asked me how I'm doing. And the truest answer is I'm a little tired, but that doesn't matter. I'm here. I'm pumped. I got my water. I got a Diet Pepsi. I'm going to get through. And this is exactly what I need, honestly. Chatting with you about video games. Like all of a sudden, I hear that music. I know what we got in store for tonight. Like I'm pumped. So like just a moment ago, we made it through the week. We've done 14,000 hours of content in the last like 8 days or so. But yes, as Riley King in the chat reminds us, Gears of War is happening. Like it's back, man. Like we got Gears, we got Fable, we got Black Ops, and there's like a fourth thing, a Perfect Dark, Doom. Like the 360 days are back. So man, welcome back all the Xbox listeners, everybody who has been like abandoning Xbox over the last like 6 months or 9 months or whatever it's been. Welcome back. No judgment. I get it. But also like we've been here the whole time, man. So happy to have you, but happy to have everyone back. Now that Xbox is worth paying attention to, we've been here the whole time. So come on in. The water's warm, as they say.
Facts. Oh my goodness. It has been a week. It's reinvigorated myself in playing like demos, being excited about what we're seeing to come for Xbox. And I'm not going to lie to you, Sean, every single time I keep talking about these games, especially coming from Xbox, and then I'm like, oh yeah, they're coming to Game Pass. So I'm going to be playing these games day one. Numero uno. So I'm super pumped. Because holy moly, there's just so much I want to talk about and so many games, of course. But before we get into that, I think we should do some housekeeping. And of course we don't have
housekeeping. The aggressive man coming in for just cleaning up, just gonna make your bed, and also say thank you to everybody who supports us at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And I want to say, thank you to everybody for ordering your Summer Game Fest merch over at carpoolgaming.com. We're already seeing, I'm pretty sure it was Hoppel who said it landed already. I'm pretty sure it was, I'm second guessing myself. I'm almost positive that it was. Yes, Hoppel, June 12th says, I'm ready for some coffee with my new Summer Game Fest 2024 cup from Carpool Gaming over on X. Thank you so much for ordering your Carpool Gaming merch and then sharing it. That is, man, top tier. If I'm just going to go ahead and give like an A+ score, thank you. I don't think we can ask for anything more than that, Fiona. Like that's pretty great.
I don't think so either. Honestly, I was so excited, and I was so excited that I forgot to respond. So I apologize, Hoppel, if you're listening to this. I saw it. I got so emotional about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so like to
Yeah, it's
me,
real.
it's real. That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
real. People have this in their homes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
And you made it.
I
You
made
drew it, and now it's in Germany.
Holy moly, my mind
Yeah.
is blown. My
Stick around to
goodness.
the end of the show, and I'll give the exact coordinates, you know. Thank you for ordering your merch. Prepare to be doxxed, everybody.
Yeah, we just start scrolling through the patrons and
Mhm.
just people's like geographical locations.
Yeah, shipping address. That's fine. We are
fine.
absolutely not doing that. But no, I don't know if you realize like how like we're kind of a big deal, you know? Like we're humble, we're Canadian, but like you drew something and then it's like printed on a mug in Germany. That is amazing.
Yeah, for context, for people who don't know, because I haven't really talked about this, one morning I'm on the bus and I'm like, I already had this idea for Summertime Bobby, and then I sent it over to Sean and everyone, and I was like, hey, this is an idea I have. And I was just like, I'm just gonna roll with it. You guys, are you okay? You guys are good with it? And you guys were
I
just like,
love it.
well, yes, absolutely. And I'm like, by all means. So that's just, oh my goodness, it was so fun making that. And I'm so excited that people are excited about it too. And honestly, that mug looks so good with the blue.
It's perfect.
I can't
Yeah.
handle it. I cannot handle this.
It's
No
really
pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you gotta have like an iced coffee. It's so summery and so bubbly and so beach-like and under the sea somehow at the exact same time. Like everything was just so you just nailed it. I'm not just saying it just to be nice. Like I would tell you if I didn't like it, or I'd be like,
Yes.
but I love it. Yes, available at carpoolgaming.com. This is the description that Seth wrote, and you guys just pair up so beautifully. It says this beautiful two-toned Summer Game Fest mug will gently wash your drink of choice to your lips like surf to the sand. You can microwave it. You can dishwasher it. It won't feel a thing. It won't even care. You can find that and more at carpoolgaming.com. This is incredible. Holy cow. I love it.
I love that so much. And Riley King in the chat, a hockey jersey for the fall.
Oh.
Who knows?
I can't even think about hockey right now, Fiona. It's too
I-
much. I know
I-
nobody cares. It's just a me thing, but whatever. It's been a journey for me.
Has it been a bad week for hockey? I don't know what's been
Well, if
going
you're an
on in
Oilers
hockey.
fan, yeah, but if you're
Ooh.
cheering against the Oilers, and I guess you're all having so much fun and joy and jubilance out there, good for you. I'm fine. It's not like I've been waiting for this to happen since 2006, but whatever. I'm good. I'm great. Super good.
You know what? I'm hopeful for next season for you. Go Oilers.
Yeah, you're probably right to say that because there's still a chance, but it's so slim, it's not even funny. But we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. I think that is all the. I mean, honestly, there's so much housekeeping in terms of all the things that we did last week just to draw attention to, all the wrap ups that we did. Shout out to Tony Baker for joining me last Friday to watch the the Summer Game Fest live reactions. He was here sitting right beside me. We touched, no big deal. That was cool. And then listeners heard Marcus O'Neill, who was also, I don't know if we really made it clear on the podcast. He was sitting right next to me too. He was in my room, no big deal.
Yeah.
We smelt each other.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
intense. I
Like just because
personally-
like that's how you breathe.
Exactly. I mean,
We didn't
I'd
like
be
go up
ver-
to each other like we didn't do one of those.
I'd also be concerned if you weren't breathing in the same room while you were sitting in the same room, because you both are still alive. So I'd be pretty impressed if you were able to accomplish this without
Pretty
doing
amazing.
that.
Yeah, because there's a bathroom right there too. Like it's just man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is no. Shout out to
Why
both
did
of
I go
them.
there?
Who knows? You know what? It's a weird vibe. They let us here by ourselves, and
No.
they're just like, "This is a good idea."
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, like that's the amazing thing about this that I don't think any of us expected. Mitch is the straight man. He's the one that like kind of keeps us rolling, and I'm chaos, man. So here I am with you. So good luck to you, I guess.
I mean, I'm also chaotic, so I think this is just a great combination. I think the Canadians are chaotic and the Americans are very level-headed and keep us on track. So I think
Oh, Mitch in the
that's-
chat. Mitch is free enough to be in the chat asking if he is. But we wish you well, Mitch. Hope
Yeah,
you're doing
you know
okay,
what?
buddy.
You know what, Mitch? I would like you to go around to each one of your family members and tell them that we both say hello. You have to explain who Sean and Fiona are. So good luck.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
enjoy that.
Sweet.
I
Well,
I
yeah.
think
Good luck to everybody trying to catch up on all the content that we made last weekend. All the things we watched. I don't know if we missed anything, really. We didn't do a wrap up on Ubisoft, though. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Ubisoft.
yeah, we also didn't watch the 3,000-hour PC game because it was so long. And honestly, congrats for PC gamers like myself, but we definitely did not check that one out. So I apologize for people who were holding their breath, hoping that we were going to react to it because
Was
it
there
so long.
anything? Was there anything to like even note from it? I'm
No.
gonna see if we can like pull it up here.
That'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Like not for right now, but maybe in a because while we're kind of like making the show up as we go along here.
Yeah.
Do you want to chat about Ubisoft? Actually, the Ubisoft show, like to me it was really only like two things, and they're pretty massive in my mind.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. I'm super cool to talk about that. I think, you know what, let's just go backwards, just
Or do you want to do your games? Do you want to do your demos? You played like 15 demos.
I did play 15 demos.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's get into the demos and then we can come back to Ubisoft. We're gonna put a little pin into Ubisoft.
Pin it. Mm-hmm.
Pin it. We're pinning it. So as always, with tradition, Sean
As
found
is
out
tradition.
as is tradition, during this Game Fest, Sean found out that I like writing things down during particular events. And this did not sway how I feel when it comes to writing down demos and my thoughts. So I played 13 demos, and then I played one game that's fully released, which is Pool, Pool, because that got released same day. And then, of course, I have been playing some favorites of mine, but I digress. So I'm just going to go down the list, starting off with one that you played, Sean, which is Lost and Found Co.
Oh, yes. I love it so much.
Chef's kiss. Honestly, guys, if you can only play one demo this next fest, go download Lost and Found Co. Holy moly, is it just a treasure of a game? Honestly, and I'm not just saying this pun intended because there is treasure in it, it's so freaking cute.
Yeah.
It's so chaotic. There's so many, like everything you touch has a different thing that goes on with it.
Everything. There's so many things here. And everything has some sort of like little sound effect or animation or reaction or uncovers something. Maybe there's a door or something like. Yeah, I cannot believe because it seems very simple, little Where's Waldo kind of point and click kind of game. Seems pretty straightforward enough, but man, so much there.
So much there. And what I love about it, there's so many little Easter eggs. And you don't feel bad for not knowing a specific, I guess, Easter egg, of course, or a different shout out. Like, for example, one that I mentioned to you, which was my favorite, which was there's a guy who's standing on the pier who looks like a character named Monkey D. Luffy from the very popular anime One Piece. And then you give him a drink and then he turns into a freaking monkey, guys. He's Monkey D. Luffy. He's now an actual monkey. I'm quieter than Sean. You know what? I'm just going to move my microphone closer, I guess. We're just going to move.
Do what we can.
We'll do what we can.
Sorry,
Yeah,
guys. Thank you for let us continue to know in the chat as well. Mitch Power sending us photos of us. He's making his entire family watch this show. He's got us up on the big screen. So hi, Mitch's family. Hello to the Power family, which is an amazing thing to say out loud.
I'm just going to say, this is the second time this week that someone has taken a photo of me being on a podcast. And can someone please take an actual flattering photo of me? Because every time I look like I am dying or I'm just unimpressed.
There's nothing flattering about like taking a frame mid speaking. There's never a good moment for that.
You know what? That's fair. That's very fair.
That's anybody.
You know what? I don't feel as bad anymore, guys.
Yeah. You're great.
No. Yeah.
But hello to the whole family. Shout out to anybody who puts us on your big screen. Like, that's kind of amazing that we have that kind of technology. Like, we're just sitting here in our rooms talking at a screen, and we're on somebody's television set. Send in all your pictures. Go to Carpool Gaming on Twitter, on Instagram, and all the things. Tag us. Tell us, let's make this a thing. Put us on your big screens. Put us on your small screens. Put us on your car screens. That would be amazing. Somebody out
Yeah.
there's got to be driving a Tesla and listening to us. That'd be like, can you do that? I don't even know.
I think you can actually, which is kind of concerning, because I know you can have a map on there, and
Yeah,
also I've
love
watched
maps.
people who are like, "Oh, I'm just sitting in my Tesla recording, and just charging, and they're watching a show or playing a game on their actual screen." So you know what? Whatever people can do in a Tesla, by all means. If you're
I love
watching
it.
right now,
Whoa.
hi. Who
Do
knows?
whatever you can in a Tesla, I guess.
Yeah,
We used to record the show in a car.
that's crazy.
Yep.
Sometimes I forget about that, Sean.
Most people do. I have not. I have not. I was there.
That is true. I remember you sitting on the back of a truck as you opened up an Xbox.
Oh my gosh, yes. Please go to youtube.com/carpoolgaming. The unboxing for the Series X. That's a long time ago now. But yeah, we drove around in a parking lot and I unboxed the Series X because I was like, all unboxings are the same. I'm gonna open it up in the back of a truck. I'm gonna set up like a GoPro and attach it to the back and just kind of shout at that thing for a couple minutes while my wife does loops around this parking lot, and we can kind of do. And I still almost dropped it.
That was honestly, whenever I think of like a Sean Capri moment, it's always that recording. That's
I love
just
it.
so
I'll
good.
take it.
I love it. I remember showing people and being like, "This is my friend Sean. Look at what he's doing." And they're like, "Is he opening an Xbox in the back of a truck?" I'm like, "He is. That's exactly what he's doing."
Yeah, we got to keep going with that. Like, we got to unbox stuff at like the fair on like roller coasters and stuff. Like, we'll keep going with it. Everybody just like sets up a table and a camera and some cool lights and whatever, and they're like, "Ooh, the power cable," and "Oh, this is where you plug in the HDMI." Like, shut up, man. Just open it in the back of something. Like, just go crazy with it. When we did an opening for the One X, and I pulled Lincoln out of it. I pulled a baby out of the box.
Oh my gosh.
It was
that's
just
so
wild,
funny.
man. All unboxings are the same, but I wanted to do a little different. Yeah, Seth in the chat says unboxing while skydiving. That might be the only way you get me skydiving. Jump out of a plane with an Xbox.
You heard it here first, everyone. We're getting Sean to skydive next gen.
Oh my god, not a chance.
Woo!
It won't even wait till a console. We should do like one of the stupid editions, the collector's editions of some game where you open it up and you're like, good thing there's no disc in here because I'm flying from the sky. That would be dangerous.
Get one of those like wind machines. You know that they test people out for skydiving
Oh my
in
gosh,
these like tubes.
yes,
And
yes.
just open it because here's the thing. That's a little bit more contained, and then if you drop it, it doesn't go 500 miles the wrong way. If that makes probably a better option, or maybe the way we start off. Maybe just a small collector's edition.
We're just giving away all the ideas though right now. That's the thing. We know people watch us and they steal our ideas here at carpoolgaming.com, but we're just putting it out there. I know, look, this is our idea, okay? If you're doing this thing, if I see you skydiving, I hope bad things happen to you. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I hope everything goes fine and everybody is safe. Of course. What kind of monster do you think I am?
Exactly.
What were we talking about?
We were
Why are
talking
we on
about
this?
demos.
Demos, yes,
We went
yes.
off tilter a little bit. But no, Lost and Found Co. Go check it out, guys.
Yes.
So cute. The art's phenomenal. If you like Where's Waldo, 10 out of 10. This is the game for you. Also, the sassy banter between Mai and Ducky, so good. One of my favorites. So go check it out. The next one I played was Tiny Bookshop.
Aw.
You want to, it's kind of like a Stardew Valley vibe where it's just like you want to just move away from your problems. So you get into your truck, you buy a little book, like one of those like mobile libraries, and you just go to the seaside and you just sell books out of the back of this little truck thing that you can paint and decorate, and you get different bonuses for different types of genres depending on the decorations that you have, and you get to talk to the people in the small town. Holy frickin' moly, guys. This is so cute. I cannot particularly handle it. You get to like color like the walls and everything. You can choose like, do I want mystery? And by the way, all the books in the game are actual books. They're actual books that you can go and read somewhere, which is so cool. Like I had Howl's Moving Castle, I had Kiki's Delivery Service, I had The Watcher. Like, I had like actual comic books. There's so many different things. There was Lord of the Rings. And
Really?
people come in. Yeah, they had Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and they're like, so what happens is some people might say like, hey, I need help. And then they say, I really want to read about an adventure and friendship, and what particular book would you recommend? So you could recommend The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the
No
Ring.
way.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I thought it was just a sorting game. I thought this was like, I had no idea from the maybe I forgot that detail from the trailer, but man, this is why we talk about them. That's why you got to play them. I have this demo downloaded, and your reaction to this one in particular, I'm really glad that you got to it, because like as soon as that bookshelf showed up and you could start like kind of rearranging them, you're just like they may as well have announced Gear 6 at that moment. Like that was your reaction. Oh, it was great.
It was so
of course
cute.
You played it.
Of course I did. And then finding out that they're real books, I don't know if they demoed that or showed that in the trailers.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, why is there Kiki's Delivery Service? And I'm like, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. What is happening here? Mind you, did I make a bad recommendation for someone? Sure, because she's just like, I need a book for my sister, but here's everything I like. And I'm like, what?
Well, how are you supposed to know?
How am I supposed to know? And so I gave her something that I think, like, I thought she would like, her sister would like Kiki's Delivery Service. And she's like, I guess I'll read this to her at night. And I'm like, girl, if you want a book for your sister, don't tell me what you like. Unless you're twins, like you're identical twins and you like absolutely everything.
Unless you're brainwashing your sister.
That's concerning. Because the other thing was like, she mentioned it was like her younger sister, and she's just like, the only thing I had that was like related to what she liked was The Watchmen. And I'm like, I'm not giving you The Watchmen. There are very giant people that do not have clothes in that. You want me to give that to your younger sister? This isn't the thing for you. Stop asking for things for yourself.
This is why you need to watch Fiona stream games, you guys. Like, this is... I love thinking like that you play games by yourself the same way that you describe them here, the same way that you stream them. Like, there's no difference. You're just by yourself in your room playing this game going, you gotta watch out for those naked men in The Watchmen. They're all giant and blue.
Yeah, it's just like, well, I'm not giving that to a young child. Kiki's Delivery Service is a phenomenal book. It's a good movie, too.
Oh,
Shout out
God.
Joe Hisashi, but like, holy moly.
Shout out.
Shout out. Now I come to a demo, which I was hoping I would enjoy. It was too much for me. And that was Albert Wild Quantum PI.
Oh,
this
tell
is
me
the
about
sassy cat. Guys, it is in first person. It is constantly, he's constantly lost. And it's just, I don't know. It had such a like a weird vibe to it. Mind you, the cinematography in it, phenomenal. So cool. It's like very much like 1920s, like New York. And it's just like grungy. And that's really cool to me. But then the camera movement happened and I'm like, oh, you son of a bleep. And I'm like, this game couldn't have been in third person. Why did it have to be in first? Maybe I should have taken it from this instance that I see him walking in first person. But
I wouldn't have thought that. I don't know why. Like, because really I was taken from the trailer originally, just the cat driving the car, like where you just see the cat head above the steering wheel. But yeah, now watching it a second time, it's pretty obviously in first person.
Yeah, but it is a very good game. I would definitely don't as much as didn't really connect with me. Go check it out. Go try it yourselves. It is a little bit almost it leads you to what you need to do in a way, which is helpful. But he seems kind of hopeless. And mind you, I understand the hopeless character, of course. But who knows? Maybe I want to try it out when it fully comes out. I did play the full demo until it crashed, if I remember correctly. Something happened where I couldn't play it anymore. And I'm like, you know what? Too
many demos.
This is it. I think it's just, it got too awkward. You know why? I was in his office and there's a small door to his washroom. And I'm like, you know what? It started to freeze and I'm like, this is a notice. This is a sign I need to stop here.
Yeah,
so
you're good.
Here we go. The last demo that night I played, which was one that was brought up on women-led games, which was Poems and Codes. I love puzzles, guys. I think that it's really cool. I think when you get like one of those puzzles where it has like a bunch of like lines and numbers underneath and you have to figure out what letter goes to what, sometimes it seems really cool. I got my butt handed to me by two of my closest friends, and holy moly, was it fun for them? Holy moly, was it not? I think it's because we did all those reacts during the day. I did 4 hours of streaming, and then
Yeah,
I
you're
decided to play
fried.
this. I was fried. Poems are not it. And so this was the game I decided to end my stream with. Could not handle this. I wish I could. My brain was broken. Just
Yeah.
shattered.
I am like grimacing looking at this footage. I'm not sure. Like you and I think are wired pretty differently to be watching this trailer, going like, yeah, let me get my hands on that. All these words and missing letters, which I guess if I'm really stretching to see the appeal, it's like sort of like Wheel of Fortune, maybe.
Yeah.
Is as close as I can get to a fun time with what I'm seeing here. Goodness gracious.
I made the mistake of playing this against a teacher and someone who went to school for like literature. I can't. This was not it. I love it. Mind you, did I think I could do this and I'm dyslexic? Yes. So it was a lot of things going on at once. And I'm like, you know what? This is just not it for me, but I appreciate that I tried it. So if you like word games, go shout out this game because it is really well done and women led. So it is made by a group of women, which is fantastic. So go check it out.
That is cool. Can you walk me through what is this puzzle right here? There's letters on the bottom and then blanks on the top that you end up with the answer fall in love. What in the world is this about?
Okay, so essentially what happens is you get like this massive wall of like lines with that kind of like code at the bottom.
Okay.
So everything that's an S is an L. So you see fall, which is LL, is
Yeah.
S, and then you see love starts with like it has S. So that's why all the S's on the board are actually L's. And then we have like W, which is actually E. So every W that's on the board is actually an E. It's a codex.
Sweet.
Like,
okay. Yeah. It reminds me of elementary school.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why I shouldn't have played this against a teacher.
There. Yes. Yeah.
Shout
Boots in
out.
the chat says educational tool disguised as a video game. Perhaps. Yeah.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, some of my guilty pleasure games are typing games. There's some really great typing games and really great learning games out there that I love playing. This is just not the one for me when I'm overtired and my brain is mush.
And that's where I'm at, right? Even like as I said at the start, I'm like, maybe this isn't the night to sell me on this one, but at the same time, like I'm glad I asked about it because I'm starting to get the appeal. Like when you have this locked into your brain, you understand this letter actually represents this other letter. Like, okay, I get it. When things, that's my brain. When things kind of like lock into place and I get it and I can build it from there. Okay, I understand.
See, I like it when like things just like click into place, or if like, in this particular case, I like the idea of it being a part of something else. So maybe like a detective game, like you have to find out clues. Like
Yeah.
that's more entertaining for me. As much as I love Edgar Allan Poe and William Shakespeare and stuff like that, that is not something I should be playing at 2 a.m. in the morning. So that was just a learning experience for me. But I digress. The next one I played was Undusted: Letters of the Past. This game is all about cleaning things. It was a pretty interesting experience. Each time that you clean off an item, you actually learn a little bit more about the character that you're playing and her past. It reminds me a lot of another game that I played, and I wish I had the name in front of me. I actually have it on my iPad somewhere, which is kind of a repair game, and then you find out more about this town. This is a cleaning game where you take items. So one of it is you have a cassette tape player, and you find out that your mom really hates this cassette tape player because she thinks you're wasting money on music. And then you find out that your character moved out at a very young age because she felt like her and her mother didn't get along with each other. And I'm like, this is a really interesting way to learn. Mind you, I'm terrible at cleaning apparently because I kept on missing dust particles. But then I found out during the second puzzle, there is a scanning ability where you can actually see on the item where you haven't cleaned off yet. So it's a very interesting dynamic and way to tell a story rather than just being like, go down this path and do this. It's here's an item, clean it off, and then find what particular memory is associated with that item, because a lot of people associate memories with a specific item. So it's a great way to it's a different way of storytelling. So I think it's a really cool way of doing it.
Nice. I could not find a trailer for that one. Really.
Oh,
You
that's
found a rare
unfortunate.
one. Not
I
on YouTube
did.
anyway.
That's fair. Definitely go check that one out. The next one was Wax Heads.
Oh.
Yeah, I played Wax Heads, which is you're playing at a record store and you find it's very Scott Pilgrim. Like it has that art vibe, and also I'm very like I think we're in Toronto. I'm very sure that we're in like Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But you have people who come in, it's kind of like the tiny bookshop where it's just like, hey, I need to get this particular album, but I forgot the name of it. But they have like a badge on their shirt that's associated with a particular band. So then you go and find the album and then you give it to them and then they say like, oh, fantastic, you gave me the right album. But there's also another story aspect to it, which is the owner of the record store used to be a part of a band back in the 80s, but then her band got broken up because her sister went solo.
Classic.
So
Tale
you
as
kind
old
of
as time.
tale as old as time, and then you find out that she might be trying to buy the record store because the record store is going like not doing so hot, which is actually this particular scene right here. For people who aren't aware of what's going on, or if you're listening to this, it's currently an interaction between two older characters, and you find out that the sisters finally meet for the first time in like 30 years. So really good game. I don't know if it would be particularly up my alley, but I think it was really fun. Also, there's stickers and little things that you can press when
You're
you're
bearing
like
the lead. Tell us about the stickers first.
stickers. Yeah, there's different design things. So you get to design posters and then you get to do some fun stuff like that. So definitely go check it out. It definitely, like, if you like Scott Pilgrim, this is a huge vibe, and the music is really cool too because you get to choose one of the albums to play.
Yeah.
So yeah, John.
I think that's a really interesting comparison. Like music, obviously a huge part of Scott Pilgrim. This almost like faux anime kind of style, like exaggerated, dark outlines, and yeah, just really hardcore into the music scene and bringing that out into visual form. I feel like this kind of reminds me. I don't know if I'm on the right track here, but like just the interactions with the customers almost reminds me in a weird way of like Papers, Please, where you're just checking out, like looking for clues. Like, is this pass the stink test? Is this good, or like is that fair to say?
Oh, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
As someone who has been playing a lot of Papers, Please too.
There it is.
Yeah, it is very. There's another game on here that we're going to talk about, which really like scratches the Papers, Please itch.
Oh.
But yeah, this one was like, it's definitely good. Like, it's more of an artsy musical version,
Sure.
but 100% because you're having to find that information, and if people aren't happy, they might not give you much money.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that in mind, or they might not even buy the album. They might just say you're an idiot and leave.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I didn't get that.
gonna happen to me
I was pretty
anyways.
good.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's such a fine line to walk too, because like you don't want to make it so obvious that it's not really part of the game, but also you need to make the clues like clear enough that you can make a good recommendation. Like I think that's kind of fascinating. There is an old man. Nobody's even gonna know what I'm talking about, but there's this old PC game where you're walking around a school and there's these robots that are like dressing up, and you got to find out like which one of them are the real criminals, and you do that by like taking pictures around the school, and then it's like the clues become just like checked off on a Polaroid picture of each of the robots. You go like, that's the one, that's the criminal. And just as a kid, like that was so gratifying, but also it was a child's game, so the clues were obvious. So I don't know, like I said, you can't be that obvious as to it being a no-brainer, but how do you design a game like that? I think that's incredible.
Yeah, it was really interesting. There was like one particular person. They're like, "Get me the album," and you're like, "What?" And they're just like,
Right.
they're like, the new album's out. I need it. And then you notice that they have a tattoo of a band on their chest, and then also a patch on their like. I think it was like their bag that they had, and you're like, oh, it's this particular band. I saw that album earlier. And so you can go and you find like there's 5 albums by the same artist, but one of them says new on it. And so then you select the one that's
cool.
new, and then you give that to them, and they're like, sick, this is the one. Another person came in and they're just like, I really like my sister, like it was my brother finally let me look at this particular magazine, and I found out that this particular band's really cool. Should I listen to, like, should I get this album? I found out there's a new one coming out today. And then you find out that the new one, if you read the description, says, do not give this to someone who's never listened to this band before, start from the beginning. So then you go and if you select the correct one, which is the first one, she's like, oh wait, this apparently this is really good. Like, is this a good starting point? Thank you so much. And then she loves it. But if you gave her the one that's like the new one, it's really hard to get into because it's a very weird, twisted like idea of an album. And so there's a lot of weird things going on, but she appreciates the fact that you took the time and effort to look at this other one.
I
So
love that. I
it's
love
so
that,
cool.
man. Yeah, it takes me back to actually like going to record stores or in HMV in Canada. Very classic. But yeah, like
R.I.P..
there's definitely as the kids would say, there's a vibe in those stores, and there's a certain like culture like kind of baked into it, and there's certain things that some bands do. There's certain ways of interacting with new albums, you know, like I think that's really great. And it's all, I assume this is all made up bands. Like there's not really
Yeah.
any real music. Man, wouldn't that be cool? Like it just sucks that music licensing is such a nightmare with like legalities and like expenses and stuff like that. It makes it unattainable for so many games to interact with that to a further degree. But imagine this idea, but with like real music. I think that would
Yeah.
be so cool, like real bands. But like, yeah, that would never happen. So I guess you just work in this fantasy world and fake bands. But that sounds pretty cool, actually. Wax Heads was this?
Wax Heads, yeah, absolutely.
Nice, good one.
The next one that I played, oh goodness, was While Waiting. Sean, this game broke me a little bit. Mostly because I am bad at waiting. So I ended up playing this on stream, and it is very cute. I very much like the concept. I also like the fact that you can play it on mobile, according to that particular trailer. And I got stuck in a loop for a good solid 15 minutes. Like, I was stuck in the staircase after I thought I was so smooth by going through the elevator shaft that everyone does. Nope.
That's death?
And no, it's not even death. It's the fact that if you are not patient and just go onto the actual first floor, and by the way, this is a little bit of a spoiler, so if you want to cover your ears for a second, if you walk by the first floor and you continue to walk up the stairs, you are in an actual loop. It will take you to like 404 error. You'll go and see like essentially
Hilarious.
do not go back. Like, you have to go back. But then if you walk down one flight of stairs, you end up on the first floor again, because they're like, you cannot go up the stairs to where you need to go. And I'm like, I hate this.
What a great way to solve for that. Like, people are going to do that no matter what, but they're like, nope, keep you contained, but not an invisible wall or anything like that. It essentially is, but 404 era, it's so clever. I love that.
It's so good. I think it's really fun, and I definitely want to go check it out when it fully gets released. Yeah, I was stuck. John, you should have come into my chat, because I got stuck for 10 minutes, and I kept on saying like, I'll do one more floor. I'll do one more floor. I'll do one more. Man, by all means, there should be like an achievement for like the most fit. Like, there is one actually that talks about like
fit.
you get up, you got your workout, but I'm like, I think there should be one above that. If you continue to do it for like 30 minutes, you can just get like Hercules mode or something like that. Because boy howdy was that boy walking for I would have if I had to walk up that many flights of stairs, I could not do
Just
it.
keel over.
I would actually be the person that's sitting in the staircase crying at my phone.
Some sort of heart emergency, some kind of cardiac arrest, or a knee injury. You could blow out your Achilles tendon. Anything could happen, really. Shin splints.
Not for me, guys. It was, what a time. What a time. It was a mess. But no, it's really cool. There's a lot of different things that you can do and a lot of like side quests. I tried to be the richest person at the bus stop. Didn't work out for me, but hopefully it works out for you if you decide to go check out this game.
So really just solving a bunch of scenarios. Because like, even I've seen the trailer. I've seen people kind of like play it a little bit. And it just, because it stresses the waiting part so much, but you're not just sitting there like waiting for stuff to happen. You're trying to like figure out, what do you have to go somewhere, you gotta like go through something in order to progress things forward, in order to have whatever you're waiting for actually happen.
Exactly.
Is that a fair way to say it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said while we were watching, it's very WarioWare. It's very much like, it's
little mini games.
The mini games, the chaos, the overwhelm, like just the over the top antics, but I love it.
But unassuming, because it looks like a very this is not meant to be an insult, but like kind of plain art style,
Yeah.
which allows like the zaniness to kind of almost seem. It's almost like the old Naked Gun movies, like Frank Drebin, just a straight arrow, just a coming at you, but it's like he's completely insane, totally comedic, but coming at you like very very straight and narrow. Yeah.
I think if there was like, I feel as though if they made it different, specifically like the art style, I feel like it would feel like too overwhelming, because you're supposed to feel kind of calm, but it's almost like an unnerving calm, because you're just like, should I be standing here and doing, because there's essentially an option that you get an achievement for doing nothing for each level.
Actually waiting.
But I'm not gonna do that. Like, there's one where you can go into a restaurant, and then what is really cool, it's kind of like the mind of a child, because then it's just like, you can imagine that there is a rocket game in the raining window, so you're like trying to like avoid the raindrops and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's so smart. Like, I would do that as a kid. I know I'd like look at the rain
absolutely
on the window.
Same.
And you're just like avoid trying to, and then you're like, oh no, and then you have to make it all the way back to the bottom and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's such a smart way of doing it.
I love it.
Great job. Fantastic job. A game, however, I did not do particularly well in.
There's so many.
Is Tom the Post Girl. So this was the creepy kind of like Tim Burton-esque vibe, where this girl is a peeping Tom, shocker, because her name is Tom, and she just goes around and looks at what her neighbors are doing. Guys, I successfully, during my run, set that barn on fire.
Yeah.
So that barn, gone. I had to collect chickens. I kicked them across Timbuktu. I kicked chickens I set a stamp on their forehead, and I kicked them back to this barn, because instead of using the fire extinguisher to put out the fire in the barn, I covered the horse. So the horse is protected from the fire, but anyone who is in this is now dead. Rest in peace. Good luck. GG's. No, it's very interesting. I'm curious to see what the actual gameplay is going to be like going through and like getting a little bit more into the depth of the story. Love our descriptions, V. Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely took my fair share of checking out what was in the box, because there's some really crazy things that go on, including this, where this girl is just sitting down. And by the way, that was terrifying. When she actually saw me, I freaked out. I was just like,
she looks at you?
I thought she was going to come out and kill me. Nope. Didn't kill me at all. But I found out that all the boys in that house are dogs. Quite literally dogs. Just act like dogs. As we can see
here.
But
they're humans, but they're acting like dogs, rolling on the ground, and they got that one boy's got his tongue sticking out and everything. Okay. Oh exactly. My gosh. Yeah, it looks, again, another sort of like unassuming, but just a little bit off on its visual style. Like all the perspective is all jacked up, and apparently there's a frog sitting in here and like a little with shotgun shells sitting around it. What the heck is that? And then it explodes.
And then it explodes.
Is what we're seeing here. Okay.
I lost my mind, because you need to make sure where you're walking on the grass, because there might be little pals that you find in the grass, because rest in peace, Snail Cowboy. I accidentally stepped on a snail cowboy, and he died, and I crushed him, and I was just like, I was so devastated. And you get to choose if you want to open up a package or not. You know what? Go to town. Open up all the packages.
Open it.
Just
always.
They don't need it. They're weird. Like, no, they don't need their stuff. You can now own it. So
yeah, what kind of reward are you gonna get for actually doing your job?
You don't get paid. They just look at you and call you weird.
Move on to the next level.
Exactly.
This game has you're picking all the great demos to play. This game, absolutely. I have this downloaded as well. I can't wait to try this one out, because it's so bizarre. Holy cow. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
New age point and click adventure games. They're here, and they're weird, and they're way different than I remember them being, man. Holy cow.
Yeah. Okay, guys, this next game was probably my favorite. It was Cabernet. Very fancy. Sean, it had elements of Baldur's Gate. It had elements of Fallout in it, because you get to choose your specials, because the beginning of the game is you are at a funeral. It is your own funeral. they are talking about your past history, and then they say like, oh, I remember her, she was so beautiful and she was so smart and talented, but I always thought that she would be like an artist, a musician, or like a politician or doctor, and then you get specials associated with the particular role that you would have done. So your family's telling the story of you, and you're picking your specials for your character. So freaking ingenious, which is phenomenal. But then you wake up as this woman, and she's actually dead. She's a vampire. Lisa, also known as Elizabeth, died and came back as a vampire. So now you've woken up as a vampire, and you have to live into this dark secret society where you can choose either you select to continue your humanity, or you might delve into the dark realm of being a true vampire and letting your ascension take hold. So there's a lot of choices that you need to make in this game. There's, for example, you can have a conversation with someone, and what you specifically tell them affects like major events later on, which is insane. Absolutely mind-boggling. And everything, Sean, narrated. Everything. There is no time where someone is talking that there's no audio. There is people talking the entire time. And then you can stand by people and listen to conversations, and you can get like a little bit of history, or like get some like juicy gossip about like trading and like what's going on in this particular it's so and this wasn't even showcased. And I'm like, what is happening?
How did you find it? How are we on this game?
So I went to Women-Led Games because I wanted to support. And this was on the front page of Women-Led Games. So I was just like, I need to play this. And holy moly, Sean, as you know, I'm a huge Baldur's Gate fan. I'm a huge Baldur's Gate fan. And I recognized one of the voices of one of the characters, and I'm like, this is Karlach. This is Samantha Bernay. It is. She's the voice actress for the particular. There's so many voice actors in this. My mind is blown. Go play this game.
Well, so you are describing it like and bringing up Baldur's Gate. I want to, for the audio listeners, what I'm seeing is like almost like an old school adventure game, like in the truest sense of like just walking around. There's a bunch of people around. You're going to interact with objects. You're going to kind of like see, you find objects, and that's going to be the way it seems like the story seems to be progressing here. And it seems pretty, again, I'm using the word a lot tonight, but like it seems pretty unassuming. It looks like a little night party. Everybody's dressed up very nicely. Cabernet kind of makes sense. But it does look like there's a glass of what looks to be wine in the top left corner. But I suppose we learn later that is that your life and it's blood?
It's
like
blood.
Yeah.
Which is why they call Cabernet, because that's their secret code for it. So that's why the game's called Cabernet, is because they transport a lot of these people, especially the person who owns the house, is the essentially the Duchess, and she, or I forget her specific title, but she ships and imports Cabernet. And there is a one of the characters that you can become friends with. She is a owner of a bar, and she sells special Cabernet. So that's why the game is called this. And also the fact, oh my gosh, there's so much.
The trailer is great. It looks lovely. Everything is wonderful. And then it ends off with her just sucking the blood out of something. And then the title screen here is her holding a sleeping forever bunny rabbit with blood on her mouth and face. And yeah, that bunny's dead. You dead, bunny.
Yeah, without spoiling anything, there's a particular thing that you can do in the demo, which essentially a terrible tragedy happens. And the way that a particular character, which is actually the one voice acted by the voice actress who did Karlach, essentially she has 3 different things that could happen. She could use the humanity route, she could choose the neutral route, or she could do the essentially like the dark vampire route. The way that I went was more humanity because of the conversation that we had, because I said that humans and vampires are on the same level. And so the way that she disciplines someone is specifically by the way that we had this conversation like an hour earlier in the game. And I'm just like, what is happening? This is like, oh my gosh, I'm now scared because then I was just like, okay, so now everything I do has consequences. But I think that was a really cool way of doing it because it kind of made the natural story, like it made the story feel very natural because then she's just like, the reason why I did this was because you mentioned, and I agree with you, that humans and you opened my eyes to a different idea of this particular world. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like that's the stuff I loved about Baldur's Gate, which is like those huge different decisions that you make can like shape the world. That's the same thing that's happening here.
Oh,
so
man.
good.
Can we pin Dragon Age as well? Did you see the Dragon Age stuff earlier this week?
I did not. You have to tell me about it.
Speaking of RPG stuff, oh my god. Well, I don't know if I saw enough, but I mean we talk. I don't want to interrupt the demo fest here we got. It's pretty great actually.
Okay.
You're getting all this just from demos. This is amazing. Free little vertical slices of games. And holy cow. Cabernet. Added to the wish list.
Woo! Next one was one I already played. And here's the reason why. Was because I was in a COVID fever dream when I first played this demo.
Oh no.
But holy moly, guys. Did I love the demo so much I played it again? And it's just as good, if not better. And that was one I hyped up constantly over the weekend, which was Phoenix Springs Prologue.
Ooh.
This game is a work of art. Holy moly. I gushed about this. If you guys have already listened to our content over the weekend, I'm gushing about it again, guys. We're back at it again. It is so smart. The way that they transition between different scenes, different locations is absolutely just there's no loading screens in this game. The way that they have loading screens is you are transitioning from one part of the story to the other. It is mind-blowing. The art style, phenomenal. And this kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier, Sean. It's very kind of basic in a way. You're so concerned.
I'm concerned because I'm trying to download the demo for this. I'm not seeing that unless I already did download the demo.
I think
it won't let me do it
did.
again. Maybe I did. I'm looking it up on Steam right now. I'm so sorry to be interrupting you with this.
No worries. Because it was funny because the way that your like the face reaction was very much towards like the girl who's holding like the rotten like melon, and you're like, oh, and I'm like,
no,
are you
no.
okay?
I'm trying to
Okay.
download the demo. I don't know. I'm doing something wrong. Anyway, my apologies.
Guys, this game is by the way, if you're playing this game, you have to wear headphones. The narration
one of those. Okay.
is it is very quiet except for her voice, and it is buttery smooth. It is so good. And just the way that she like describes things, because she's the only one that's talking in the entire game, and like at least from the demo point of view. And so you have 3 options for items. You can either talk to it, you can use it, or you can like kind of like look at it. And so even if you're like looking at like, let's say a chair, and you click on talk to it, she's like, that won't do anything. And I'm like, okay, okie dokie.
That's the best. That happens in adventure games like all the time. Like don't even try, but like they kind of go like or like no like a sound effect. But that's a nice way of doing that.
It's so good.
Don't mind
and it's
that.
just it's like you're the premise of the story is you're trying to find her brother. Her brother has gone missing, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And the story takes you from her apartment to his old house to a university to find out whatever is happening there, because we don't know what's going on there. We know that the university that he went to we don't know why it's currently run down. What happened? What happened to all this? Or first of all, why didn't she keep up with her brother? Because this seems kind of weird, because the way that the school looked a little bit older than just a few years, if that makes sense. So it's just, there's a lot of things going on. Not many questions that were answered, but I love that. That's makes me more like excited about playing the actual full game. Like what's going on in the trailer? Because a lot of what you're seeing in this trailer right now, guys, which for people who aren't watching it, you're listening to it, it's very like minimalistic in a way, because it's very just bold black lines.
Very striking for sure. Saturated colors. Interesting color palette for sure.
Exactly. And I like the fact that it has like a very indie kind of esque like late 1970s, early 1980s comic book.
Yeah.
It's not like the front of the like comic book store. It's kind of like the indie ones that
Totally.
like kind of be in the back, and I love that.
Yeah, a little grungier. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, not smooth, but like still very beautiful. Like I'm kind of digging that. Like in the era of everything's got to be 60 frames per second, like the utmost fidelity and everything. And if everything's trying to go after that, you can stand out a lot by intentionally being something like this. Like I really,
Yeah.
really like that. It instantly stood out when we watched it over Summer Game Fest over the weekend last week. Yeah.
So
I don't know
good.
where to download this dang demo. What the heck?
Okay,
Game
I'm gonna
comes out
have
on
to
September 16th though on
Yes.
Steam. So there's
Guys,
that.
I'm playing this game day one. I don't care
Ow.
what happens. I'm taking the day off. I'm going to play that entire game. I'm going
I
to sit
love
down
it.
in the morning and play it. This is one that stood out to me last year. And then I decided to play it in December. And I was just like, I remember it being so beautiful, but what happened? And I'm like,
Right.
oh, that's why your girl wasn't doing so hot. So I was just like, I just want to like make sure. So I replayed it, and I played it not on stream. This is not something I recorded. I
Mhm.
just sat down. Actually, I think it was on Wednesday night. I was just like, I'm just gonna turn off all my lights and play this again. What an experience.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. I'm so happy I didn't stream it just
Yeah.
because of just like how like involved it is. It's very like I said, there's no talking other than her, and because everything's like it's narrated through her. She's just like, I went to go talk to the boys. Like they didn't
Mm.
respond. And like it's just so interesting in the way that you put pieces together, because you kind of have like this mind map where you have like a bunch of different things that you can connect to them, and you can select like her name is Iris. You can say like, okay, her brother, and then you click on Iris, and so she combines the two together to be like, this is our like relationship, and this is what's happened, and this is why we're in this particular situation. I'm like, oh my, that's so good, so good. Go check it out. Go if
I
you can
can't
find
wait.
it, because
I
apparently
can't find it. I'm on the page. I just can't seem to find the button for the demo.
we're gonna have to
Shoot.
find that.
Yeah.
Have you searched your library?
No. It might be here. It's possible.
It could be hiding.
Yeah, I might just be. No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
that's on
Phoenix
brand.
Wright is there.
Well, I mean, that's also a bonus.
I think that's because I'm
Um,
on Ribo's family though. I'm like, I don't remember buying this game. But yeah, shout out to Ribo and the family plan on Steam.
The next one I played was Solitaire. It was a card game. It is a actual solitaire game where you're trying to build out actual tarot readings. That game was fantastic. Mind you, I'm gonna put a huge asterisk beside it. And the reason why I'm doing this is the sound options in this demo are broken. If you turn them
Oh.
down, they will still be at 100%. You need to go manually turn that down. If you have wavelength set up, if you have the ability to turn down a specific game, you have to I uninstalled that game and reinstalled it and had the same issue. I've heard other people didn't have this issue. I don't know what happened. I was the lucky one, guys. I pulled the golden ticket. This game is it's a very, like, I would like to say it's very, like, I personally love it. But I definitely can see it as kind of like a niche game. It is you play solitaire and you have to find soul cards, and these soul cards actually build out a tarot card, which is on the left-hand side. And when you're building out the like solitaire or like solitaire game, if you have like different numbers, they have to correlate with what's on the actual pinwheel on the bottom right-hand side. And so you build out kind of like almost like a coffee talk kind of vibe where you're talking to the person and talking about what they need to do next for them. And it's a very interesting way of playing it. Honestly, I found the jazz version of Ace Attorney, and I played that music instead. And I just put rain music on, and I'm like, this is the vibe. And I think it worked fantastic.
It's so nice. Just a custom vibe.
Exactly, custom vibes. But it's a very cool game. I will definitely be checking out. I love card games. It's definitely relentless in some ways, especially the more farther that you get, because you have to, like, let's say you have a 0, you have to get on the board either a 1 or a 2, like a 1 or a 7. And then if you have like a bunch of things on the board and they don't match, you have to like pull from the it's a whole thing. I got I almost failed a few times, which didn't go super well, but I love it. I think it's a really cool vibe. Definitely go check it out. The
It looks
next one,
cool. Before you
yeah,
jump into the next one, I'm just
yeah,
realizing like there's so much free like content here with all these demos and everything. It would be great to be able to just like toss a tip. There's tipping everywhere, and I feel like tip culture is kind of taking over. And I'm not asking for like a 15, 18, 25% thing to be shoved in your face all the time, but like wouldn't it be nice to be able to like throw a little love to these devs for these demos that we get? And in some cases, you remember to go and buy the game because you loved it, but like a lot of cases, maybe not. Like maybe this is the one and only kind of interaction. It'd be great to be able to support, especially these independent devs. A lot of these people, a lot of this is like made by one person in some cases.
yeah. I know with like itch.io you can do that
Okay.
because so that's a game service that you can go and check out games. There's either free games. That's actually where when I've worked on essentially
Game jams.
game jams, that's where we posted is on itch.io. But there's a game recently that's it's become super popular, which is That's Not My Neighbor, which is very Papers, Please. So
Okay.
you can play it free online. I bought it for $3.99 and there was a tip option. So I think it would be really cool
That's
to
cool.
have that, especially
Yeah.
with, like you said, like all of these, like these are demos that they're giving us for free. There's
Yeah.
thousands of demos available right now. By the way, if you are like, oh, well, it's currently on Sunday and I'm currently like, doesn't matter. It's this runs until the 17th and a lot of these demos still stick around after the fact.
Mhm.
So kudos to game developers who give us this opportunity to just play these demos. Like some of them
Yeah.
are short, some of them are hours long.
Yeah.
And it's because they're like, oh yeah, this is the first part of our game. I'm like, why are you doing this? I'm like, this is, I mean,
Yeah, you forget
I'm-
you're playing a demo.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, kind of going into the next one I'm about to talk about, which is Tavern Talk. That was a 2.5 hour demo. It was so long. This game is adorable. It is very Coffee Talk-esque. You play as a tavern owner, the innkeeper, and you talk to people who come to your bar. You get to build relationships with them. You get to build out a quest board. Like, when you go into an RPG and they're like, here's the quest board, you can pick out a quest. You actually make those in this game. So you
Oh.
get like different rumors and stuff, and you can take those 3 rumors and combine them together and create a quest.
You're like a
And one
dungeon
of-
master for them.
Exactly, that's the thing. So you can have these really great conversations. The person that we saw on the screen, which is Fable. Fable is a hunter or ranger, but really aspires to be almost like a bard. They love the idea of singing and want to go and experience life, but they're very scared because they've only ever lived in the forest. And you kind of get to have those really deep and meaningful conversations about like what's stopping you from doing this. And so it's so cute. It's really cool. And instead of like making just like a coffee drink, you're making these like potions that give them bonuses. So you can give them a dexterity potion or you can give them a strength potion. And then later on you can get spices and stuff like that you can add to your drinks. So you give them benefits. It's so freaking cool. And you can build relationships out with people. And it's just so interesting that you like pick up these small rumors, like I said, and then you can build out these quests that you put on the board. You get maps. Ondu, he eats all of the potions that you don't do well with, or if you
What
mess
is
up
what
a
is
potion.
Ondu exactly? What is this little guy?
Ondu is just your little companion that eats potions.
Yeah, he's like a little monster, little
and you-
pink little. Look at him, cute little
Exactly.
tail and giant eyes, but he's
can
a
pet him.
monster. Oh, of course.
And then when you pet him, his eyes sparkle because he gets so excited. And I'm like, I'm sold, guys. I need this game.
Yes.
This comes out on the 20th. And I'm
Tavern
going to be
Talk.
playing it day one, guys. So once this game comes out, I'm playing it all. So I'm really excited about that one. And then the last one, which was very Papers, Please, but also fills my need for rage, which is Debitors Club. You are a debitor of the city. You have been hired on by the city to tell people, hey, you need to pay us. This game is wild. And I'm saying this nicely, mostly because You select 3 people that you're going to call that day, and you can either talk them into paying you, you can threaten them, you can lie, or you can essentially say all of your papers are falsified. And then on top of that, you don't just get it automatically. You have to roll a dice essentially to get close to a specific number. So if you get you have to reach a 5 to be able to do something. You need a 5. If you don't get that 5, you fail. So you can either send out the debitors, or if you fail, you can end up having to send maybe some muscle. Who knows? You send out some muscle and they take the money for you, but you don't get out the full amount. The storyline at the end of the day, there's like a news article, like a news reporter, and they talk about the events of the city, and sometimes what you do affects the actual main story. And then on top of that, what we saw on the screen, which was a huge board that had string and stuff like that, there are so many endings to this game. I don't know how. It's just like I finished up the week because you get an update each week. And I have the top storyline, which is I went to dinner with one of my coworkers, but there was a bunch of different story plots that I'm now locked out of because I did that instead. Because I didn't stay at night to work with my boss. And I'm like, what is going on? And then there's like the small group that's like, they slip papers underneath your door at night, and they're like, don't listen to your boss. He's only like, he's threatening the city and the well-being of the people. Don't send people to like beat people up and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is going on? What is happening?
All the while, the art style is very crude, almost like Beavis and Butthead, or like the close-ups from like Ren and Stimpy back in the day. Like you're doing a wonderful job describing these games, because it's like there's a lot going on in this trailer. I'm not sure that I'd be able to pick up any of that from just this. Like there's you're drawing a tattoo on a man with like sleeves cut off, and there's just all the weird gross details, the body hair, the 5 o'clock shadow, the smattering of ink, etc. Like what? There's a aqua size club, a bunch of old people in a pool that we're seeing here with all the wrinkles, all the what a weird game that I've just added to my wish list and also downloaded while you're chatting.
And also, Sean, a bonus for all of us is you can play this with your community, because you can actually set it to stream mode, so people can in your channel can be like, even though you're like, I just want to talk to people, your entire stream can be like, no, we're gonna threaten them, so everyone votes, and then you have to follow what they do, they told you to do. So for some reason, my only gripe about it is it sets it to like 5, which you don't know what 5 is, and I'm like, what's 5? It's 5 seconds. No one can vote in 5 seconds. Are you crazy? So my stream couldn't use it, and right now it is currently under development, so it didn't work for like the first 2 days. But holy moly, a friend of mine, shout out Amber, suggested that because I love Papers, Please. It is one of my favorite games, and that was the last demo. There are so many other demos. Next week I'm going to talk about more demos. I'm playing demos all weekend.
My God. Shout out to Fiona running down in detail. How many did you count? How many you just went through? Like,
I went through 13.
13 in detail. Like, holy crap, man. We got an absolute rock star on the podcast here. Round of applause in the chat, and leave comments down below. Let her know in the Discord, man. Holy, I just got to like participate here. I was just here downloading everything. Like I feel like I was a listener, just happens to be on the show. I'm like, I'm gonna wish list this. This sounds great. Like that's what everybody else is thinking too. So shout out to Fee, man. Holy cow, that's awesome. I can't see in the chat says, are there any demos on Xbox? Hard to say. I think most of these are Steam. Of course, the Xbox Drive being our unofficial PC podcast. But man alive, people in the Discord, probably one of our most popular channels actually is the PC gaming channel. People are very, very excited about all of the PC games, the Steam Decks, the ROG Allies, and the handheld that Xbox hasn't made yet, but Phil Spencer is hinting to heavily. But yeah, right now it was the same thing on the Nintendo Drive this week actually as well. Most of those games that Locklith and I played were we talked about on the Nintendo Drive, but pretty much Steam Demo Fest, PC gaming coming back in a big bad way. Holy crap.
Sean, I think one of my favorite things this week was just like, I was streaming and it just kept on saying, Sean has opened this. Sean has opened this. Sean has opened it. And I'm like, whoa, he is. I
So-
thought I was going through demos like there was no one's business, but Sean's here wrecking my numbers.
You're not the first person to mention this. So what happened was on Steam, like you know how they have like the featured pages, and I was on one of them. I can't remember if it was like Steam Next Fest. It must have been Steam Next Fest, because what I was doing was just there's all the games, the sort of like the tiles of game artwork, and you click on it, you can hit install, and whether you want to or not, it was going to install it and then play it. It was going to launch it immediately afterwards. I'm like, I just want to install all these games, and my desktop is covered with shortcuts of all these things. But yeah, I wasn't actually playing any of those games, but a few people reached out to me, go like, you okay over there, Capri? Like, what's going on over there? I'm like, I'm just hoarding right now. I'm getting my happiness. My dopamine hit is actually not coming at all from playing any of these things. I'm just downloading right now, only to then freak out later about not knowing where to start or what to play or anything. I've just been gorging, like digitally gorging over the last couple of days.
Yeah. Did you get to play any others other than Lost and Found Co?
I did play one today, but unfortunately, like I don't have as glowing a review on it as you have. The game I played was called Old School Rally. It's a racing game. It's a like PlayStation 1 era style game. It's something that has caught my attention. I'm getting a lot more of this on Twitter these days. Just from indie developers showing a little trailer and like a link to wish list this. This is 12, 14, 15-year-old Sean era of playing games, just driving around in, at the time, what looked like amazing landscapes and tracks and everything, driving around cars that I would never be able to drive. And so I was caught by the visual style of it and just kind of the nostalgia for sure. And so I was playing the demo, and it's there is a rally mode, which seems like more of like a Grand Prix kind of thing, and I assume that's a little bit more involved. The demo is really just a time trial, so it's just you alone on a track trying to race through it as quickly as possible. And I don't know, maybe maybe today wasn't the best day to play a game. I just thought it was a little like kind of quiet and lonesome, I guess. Like it didn't really have like the excitement, but I'm trying to wrap my mind around what to expect from these games that are trying to throw us back into the 32-bit era, you know, of PS1. Like they were great in our minds, but they weren't really that great either. So I'd like to go back, and I'm curious to see that game progress a little bit, and I want to play more like it. But it looks like a rally version of like Gran Turismo 1, which back then you thought like, how could games get better than this? It's impossible. So it did a good job visually of reminding me of those days. It just don't like it was you're just running down a track. It's a, you know, point A to point B kind of thing, and there's a like a co-pilot kind of saying like left, right, left turn, hard right, zigzag, and it just that was essentially the that was the game. So yeah, not as glowing a review. I'm like, man, I'm kind of bummed out because I was really excited about this one. We'll wait to see, maybe there's a little bit more to it in the full version. But man, I had one. I played a couple that I talked about on the Nintendo Drive. I also played Lost and Found Co. And I'm blanking on the other one that I played. Shoot, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But I got to play a bunch, man. Holy crap. Oh, I played Building Relationships, of course. I played that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Mitch Power in the chat says, "Hey, Sean, my brother-in-law is asking if you are upset about the game last night. Respond when appropriate to the Oilers game last night." Yeah, I'm not doing great. Not doing great, Mitch. But thank you for asking. And thank you, Mitch Power's brother-in-law in power, for asking. But we'll do okay. Well, it's fine. It's summertime, man. Hockey should be done. Like, what the heck? How is there even ice? It's too hot out.
That's what, honestly, every time you've been mentioning it, I'm like, I am sweating over here. Why is there hockey? That
Should not be hockey. Like, wrap it up.
No.
We get it. Yeah.
Isn't it soccer time? Rugby?
It is soccer time. Yeah, Germany won today.
Nice.
Yeah, so sorry to your Scottish heritage. I think you have Scottish heritage.
I sure do. McKinnon is huge, like, is very Scottish. My first name is very Scottish. My entire lineage is very Scottish, yeah.
Yeah, Scotland did not do great today against
It's okay.
Sorry about that. But good game.
It happens.
Sports.
So
That's it for me, but I need help. I need to, like, I don't know if we need to do something in the Discord. Like, today is not the day for it because we just got to spend an hour talking about demos, which was great. But I just finished up Link Between Worlds on my 3DS, so that's great. But I'm like, what's what's next? I like Dragon Age is coming, so I'm very excited about that. I saw a couple people in the Discord talking about going back to Origins, or maybe even like jumping into Inquisition, of course, because earlier this week we got like 15 or 20 minutes of Dragon Age gameplay. Yeah, I can't remember. Like, you're huge into Baldur's Gate, but like, where are you at with Dragon Age?
Okay, here's the deal. I opened up Inquisition on fun fact, on Game Pass. I was playing it on Cloud. I made a character and then I stopped. And then I made a character and then I stopped. And then I made another one and then I shockingly
Oh, bummer.
I stopped.
Yeah.
I think it's because I was trying to find a game to play in between Diablo 4 and Baldur's Gate 3, and then Baldur's Gate 3 just consumed what I wanted in regards to Dragon Age, and I'm like, I don't need to do this. I'm just going to stick with Baldur's Gate. But I want to try this game. I think I have to go back to play Dragon Age blah, 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 blah. Dragon Age
Got it.
Inquisition. Exactly. By all means. I'm on a whole new level right now, guys. But this looks so cool. Like, this is actually the first time I'm watching this, and I'm already so intrigued. So
Yes.
for someone who's not obviously familiar with the series, how much, like, it is a character creator person myself, like, what are we looking at when it comes to like the different races, like different classes? What are we looking at when it
I'm
comes to
never
that?
great at describing the classes, but the thing about, like, this is why I'm surprised that you haven't gotten into it before, is for me, when I first fell in love with Dragon Age, I went back to playing Origins, but that's not the beginning of the story. Actually, I started playing because Inquisition came out. Started playing that, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And so back then I was actually shopping at EB Games, back when it was EB Games. Like, I'm just gonna go pick that game up and see what's going on here. I played Dragon Age Origins. I remember thinking that one of my first thoughts jumping around in that world was, oof, this is gonna be rough. Because even then it was, you know, I think that game came out in like 2009 on the 360. I was easily playing this well into the Xbox One era. Going like, oh, I think even in 2009 it was a little, because it's like systems more than anything, and systems and storytelling. Graphics have always kind of been like secondary, at least in my opinion, in the Dragon Age games. And the Origins games, this is something that I'll never forget, is depending on the class or the race that you chose, you would have a completely different opening story. The first like 4 or 5 hours or whatever, it is totally different. So, and Dragon Age geeks out there will totally correct me. I'm gonna get some of these details incorrect, but it's something like, if you play as a city elf, the game opens up as there's a wedding, and depending on if you're the male or female, you're gonna be the bride or the groom. And if I think it's like the bride gets like taken away and thrown in jail, and that's, so if you're playing as the female, like, that's your origin, is like you're at a wedding, you get taken away, you're thrown in jail. And if you're the male, your bride gets taken away and you got to kind of go rescue her. And that's sort of like part of the opening there. I played as a mage, and so you start off in the mage tower, and everybody's getting trained up to be, you know, wizards and witches and everything. And there's deception, and there's all these things kind of happening. There's blood mages that you gotta be wary of, and maybe one of your friends is a blood mage, and my God, why is he doing all this stuff? And he's asking you to cover for him, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Am I gonna help this guy? Like, it instantly throws you with these incredible situations, and I'm like, I'm 4 minutes into this game and I don't know what to do. Like, that to me is narrative at its best. It's like decision making and agency at its best. And from there, that's why I've always loved it. So that does carry over into the second game to a certain degree. They don't do the Origins thing really ever again. And then Inquisition as well. It's all about how these races are kind of like treated, and all the politics and the history that they have. I mean, you know about any of this with any Dungeons and Dragons. Going into where the dwarves are, there's, you know, battles for power and who's going to be in charge of everything. And you wander over there and you find yourself battling and taking sides, and it's incredible. So that carries on with this overarching, the world is going to end, by the way. Like, this blight is coming on in, and you don't even know how you're going to take care of these archdemons and everything. It's incredible. So I'm glad I went back to play Origins, and as excited as I am for Inquisition to kind of like blend into the Veilguard, I don't know how they're going to do this, to be honest with you, because there's so much history here. Things do separate, though, I would say, with the second one. Like, 2 really blends into Inquisition, probably more so than the first one into the second one. But as far as the character creator goes, generally you're your own individual as the hero, and you're given sort of like a general kind of name that they can refer to you by. There's never your actual name. In the first one, you're like it's called a Grey Warden. It's a special kind of hero. So they always kind of call you and refer to you as the Grey Warden. I think the second one you're actually called the hero, like the hero of the city or something like that. And then in Inquisition, you're the Inquisitor. But in doing that, they kind of give you a blank slate to then be any of the races. So man, Dragon Age, the story and the decisions and how the world is ending in front of your face and you got to try to save it somehow is always what's gotten me, which is why the conversation around it this week has really just like troubled me, because everybody's talking about the art style of this and combat that. I'm like, golly, I'm looking at this thing completely upside down from where everybody else is at. I could care less about the battle system. It could be rolling dice and cards and blind luck for all I care. It's everything else. It's the relationships with the party members. A lot of the stuff that people love about Mass Effect 2 shows up in especially Inquisition, like getting to know your party members and building alliances, and that's how you end up actually overcoming the big bad in these games. So when they showed the gameplay reveal earlier this week, I think BioWare has like something like 20 minutes or so that we look at. My first thought looking at this was how beautiful this village is, this landscape that we find ourselves in. The lighting is so intriguing and interesting, and it looks like it's just guiding us through whatever's kind of coming next. And I really liked it. I thought this looked, dare I say, like next gen. Actually, I thought it looked really, really interesting.
Yeah. No, I think that's the issue, is like a lot of people are being overcritical of the looks of the characters because they're like, oh, this isn't what it used to look like. Oh, it looks a lot more almost like comedic in a way. But I think that's kind of what gives it its charm in this case, and especially with the fact that like the way that it looks like right now, yes, it does look a little bit different than what it originally did, but the graphics overall make it look incredibly realistic.
Yeah, it's been 10 years, by the way, since the last game.
That's
2014
insane.
was Inquisition. Yeah, so like maybe it should look a little
Wow.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they need to find a way to stand apart. And I understand that, yes, it does look a little bit different, but at the same way, like there's so many games that look different than what they did 10 years ago. We're seeing this a lot with remasters and games being completely remade into like these like beautiful like masterpieces at this point. And I think like this looks insane. Like I don't
Right?
understand, why are
This
people
flaming
complaining
like
about this?
wolf monster, like I don't know what's going on here, but it looks great. The one thing I will say about this gameplay reveal 2 feed that maybe is taking away from some of the intrigue is it's a human character. It seems like you're playing as a human, and like maybe that's the least interesting like protagonist you could
Yeah.
have chosen here. And I guess it's a way for people to kind of see themselves in it. But to me, it's always been more fun to play as like a dwarf or an elf or something else, or Kunari or something like that. Like I don't know if that's going to be a playable character in here as well. But yeah, like that's why I think everybody's focusing on, I think, the wrong thing, because it didn't show you anything else to really look at. It showed you a bunch of the graphics. It showed you how the characters look. It showed you some of the battle systems
Yeah.
so that's how people are going to respond to it, which I get. But yeah, if you've played Dragon Age before, like if you love it at that like nerdy deep level, oh my goodness gracious. Now, I haven't played Baldur's Gate, so I'm not here to convince you this is better or different. Like I have no idea. Baldur's Gate to me is as kind of like in a good way as dorky as it gets. Like D&D to the max.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you are going all out. So if you like that kind of thing, you're gonna get it with Baldur's Gate. I spent 3 hours in the character creator, maybe 90 minutes in the rest of the game, and I think I got distracted by Starfield at some point, which I also still
Bro.
have to go back to. So I mean, we could spend the summer just like geeking out about Dragon Age and Baldur's Gate, to be honest with you.
I mean, I'm here for it. I need to start playing another, like, I need to get back into my characters because I have currently 4 currently waiting to be completed.
Yeah.
So I need to go back because that's incredible. Like, it's just, I think a lot of people compare, and I think the issue is now, and I think that's going to be the issue moving forward, is a lot of things are going to be compared to Baldur's Gate 3. And like, massive fan like myself. I love that game and I will be playing this game for years to come, but I think it's almost unfair in a way to compare them. I know a lot of people also talked about the fact that like, oh, if you like Baldur's Gate, you should play Dragon Age Inquisition, which is probably why I also tried to get back into it at one point and I made a character and then I stopped again because that's my relationship right now with Dragon Age. But I think it's just like, I feel like it's not fair to specifically compare these games. I would like to see what the gameplay is. Who knows? Maybe this is one of those things where it's the opening part of the game, but this is actually the history of a particular group. Maybe these were the adventuring party before we got the story, or we particularly took this over. Who knows? Like, we don't have any information. We don't know who those characters are. Of course, we did see a few names in the particular, like in the trailers, but I think this is incredibly unfair. Of course, for myself, I would never play human character. I always like in Baldur's Gate, I play a half drow. The half drows are my bread and butter. I love them to death, but I don't think
that's what I was in Baldur's Gate.
Nice.
Before, some sort of drow, something like that.
I love.
And then there's man, what was it? Like some sort of like magic character that had an oath or breaks an oath. Is this ringing any bells?
Paladin. That's fine. I started with a paladin.
But like a dark, like they broke the oath. Like they're not doing it no more.
Oath broken. Yeah.
Yes.
See,
is that what it's called? Oath broken paladin?
Yeah.
That this is my total interaction with anybody. This is why I love doing this, because I always pair up with somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, and I give them just enough to go like, I know a little bit about this, but I can't remember, and they always get it. I love that. It's very enjoyable for me.
I'm not gonna lie, I played 100+ hours on my first character.
I
was gun-ho to not break my oath the entire time.
Oh.
I got to like Act 3, there was something that happens, I break my oath because I'm like, I am not doing what you want me to do. I break my oath. I'm almost in tears. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've ruined it. And then I found out that the oath broken paladin, who's your guide, has the thickest accent, a beautiful accent that I've ever heard, and he has such a cool story. And I'm like, I am so upset that I haven't been oath broken the entire time. This guy is so cool. So I then my next character that I'm playing right now for my Dark Urge is going to be that's a
Dark Urge. Goodness gracious.
Urge.
All right, that's for the post show. Holy
that is
crap.
Post show. It is she is a hex warlock, so she I have her as a warlock paladin. So she's oath broken paladin with warlock abilities. So good. So good. Because you can be two things at once, Sean.
Oh my goodness, great. I need man, I love talking about video games with you. Like, I just want to anytime, sometimes I will literally not play a game because I'm like, I need Fee to be right here with me to play this, because it's like adding sugar to a drink. It's just man, it just maximizes it. It just brings it up a level. It's awesome.
Sean, we can play Baldur's Gate together.
We should do it. Oh,
we should
man,
do it.
I'm not nearly as exhausted as I was at the start of this, and it's been 90 minutes later. So who knows? We might be doing a little something after this. Boots in the chat says, "Where is the Dragon Age Legendary Edition?" Man, that would have helped a lot. Holy crap! I wish there was a time when EA came out and said that they absolutely would not do remasters, and obviously they changed their mind because the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is spectacular. It's so great. It brings those games up to a level that is totally playable. Looks great. I don't remember if it's 30 or 60 frames. It doesn't matter. All you got to know is that it doesn't dip and it's smooth and it looks good. Yes, that'd be incredible. This one, man, Dragon Age is like any other great D&D, or really any other good narrative kind of game where you could jump into the third game and not understand all the stuff, or not have experienced all the things that have happened before it, but it would still explain it to you in a way that you can experience the game, and it would be a positive thing. But you just know that things have happened before you got there in the third game. But also that exists in the first game, in Origins. That stuff has happened previously. There's all this lore and stuff, and there's characters with biases and preferences, and there's wars and opinions and all this stuff, and that to me is yes, give me that. I love that so much. So it kind of doesn't matter if you jump into the first, second, third. There's always going to be something that you've missed I guess. And that's where I geek out. That's where I need to listen to. I want to recommend a podcast that was a limited run thing.
Okay.
So if you're into Dragon Age, and especially if you don't mind spoilers for Origins, it's called Dragon Age Off the Record. You might find it as Dragon Age OTR. A wonderful total geek out over the course of the different story beats in that one. So people should definitely check that out. And while I'm rambling, I want to address Ryan Turford's comment in the chat here. Of course, Ryan from the PlayStation Drive, currently previous co-host of the Xbox Drive. Ryan, get my hopes up here. He says, not to provide too much hype, but they actually tease that origin stories are back in Veilguard with 6 different starting points. Ryan, I can't handle it. If that's real, game of the year already. Holy crap. Yes, that's the best part of the first one, because you can't play them all at once. So you're going to be like talking about your experience. Imagine like you and I are playing the same thing, same time, and I'm talking about like my first couple hours of the game, and you're going to have a totally different experience. I love it. I think that's way better than multiple endings, by the way. I don't care if they all end up in the exact same place. It's rare and difficult to do that, but I think different origins are way better to me. But most people haven't experienced it, Fee.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the thing. Like, even with Baldur's Gate, there's no original origins. You start at the same place. You all start on the ship with the mind flayers. Mind you, of course, there is a little bit of a difference between like the originals Tav and of course the Dark Urge, but it's not until after you get off the ship. So it's really interesting. Like, I'm very interested. There is slightly a little bit of origins in, funny enough, Final Fantasy 14, because you start as your character and then you have story quests. It's not as massive, of course, as Dragon Age, but I know something that I really enjoyed when I started off with Final Fantasy 14 is I play as a paladin. I love paladins. Paladins are my bread and butter. And one thing is, it's really cool because I ended up becoming essentially a paladin of Ulduar, because it's just like Ulda, sorry. Because it's more on the lines of you're working with the inner circle essentially of Ulda, but then my friends were playing different things and they're like, oh, this is my story arc, this is everything, and I'm like, that's really cool, but I have such like a close relation with this particular city now. I like this a lot. And the same thing happens with like the Dark Knights, which seems to be on trend. I'm Dark Urge, Dark Knight. You know what? Just dark vibes all around.
Turn off the lights will dim and everything will be dark.
Exactly. Here we are. I'm very excited. I definitely will have to check out that podcast because I don't know if I have enough time to check out Origins and Inquisition, because there's so many games, Sean. So many great games coming out, and I am stuck with all these, like, I'm like, there's so many options that I'm kind of stunned. Yeah. That's like, I think that's why I like the demos right now. But
yes, yeah, get a little bite, get a little taste, and you can feel satisfied at the end of it. Because the other side of it is you turn around, it's like we're at the bottom of a mountain staring up and the avalanche has already started. It's coming, like we're safe for now, but it's coming. You know, before we know it, all these games are going to be launching and they're huge. And in a case like Dragon Age, like, man, I'm just glad that I have experienced them, so I can just look forward to this one. I might have to look at some stories and some refreshers and that kind of thing, because it's been damn near a decade since I played Dragon Age Inquisition. But man, I love it so much. I know some people a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about the series. If you love it, you have criticisms of it from like a loving place. You want it to be a little bit better. But I also know that if you don't have that history with it, it can be a little bit tricky to get into it. Like if you don't have like a deep love for everything that I've talked about, or D&D in general, things like that, then I can understand people kind of coming in from it going like, okay, this is my first game of this type, and it kind of bouncing off you. I would get it. To me, this is such a meaningful experience. There's a few games where that kind of like introduced me into a new genre, a new like opening, a new landscape of games. Fallout 3 is one of them. Dragon Age is another one of them. And it's just like, I'm so glad. Persona, another one of those like kind of gateway games, you know, that like now I can play all these other things because I played Persona 4 Golden. I can play all these other games because I played Fallout 3, all these things. I love that. I don't know if be an interesting thing to discover from people, and like what was the one game that opened you up to a bunch of other stuff. That'd be great to talk about.
Absolutely, man. I mean, like XCOM with like Baldur's Gate, because it's turn based. Like
Yep.
that is such a good like things like that, because I know a lot of people had gripes about that. They're just like, I don't like the turn based, and I'm like, the guys, you don't even understand. You guys should go play some XCOM, play some Midnight Sun that came out last year. Did you guys
Epic.
remember that?
It was free on Epic last week.
What?
On the Epic Game Store. Yeah, Midnight Suns was free. I picked it up.
Wow, it's so Sean. I'm not a huge fan of like. Sorry, guys. I'm about to offend a bunch of people.
Uh-oh.
I'm not a huge fan
Marvel.
of like Marvel games.
Yeah.
But Midnight Suns, mind you, they did spoil the game for me because they had a DLC skin that they showed, and I'm like, oh, so that's happening to that character.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's also, thank you for bringing it up, because I was going to mention that about the Veil Guard. Huge spoiler for the end of Inquisition. Like, it's so hard to even, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't noticed, but like, yeah. Who you're fighting in the Veil Guard is a pretty massive spoiler for the end of Inquisition, which is too bad. But I also wonder if like that's it. I feel like there's, somebody really behind the evil. I'm not sure if it's this character. I don't know why I'm dancing around it, because it's the basis of the game. But if anybody's gonna go back and play Inquisition, like, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. Go, if you're gonna look. Maybe I should have started with this. If you're gonna go back and play Inquisition, lights out for the Veil Guard. Just know that you're gonna play it later. Don't pay attention to anything. If you've heard something, forget it. Just don't worry about it. Try not to let that lesson stick, and just play Inquisition, because yeah, it's a pretty cool turn of events, and pretty unexpected turn of events that is basically the first 5 minutes of this gameplay trailer of the Veil Guard. It's the whole point of the game. So man, Boots in the chat talking about just memories of Dragon Age. Sliding with Logain and pissing off Alistair was always funny to me. Dude, Alistair, oh man. And Morrigan and all the, so good. You gotta play it. I gotta know what you think about this game. And only if you love it. I adore Dragon Age Origins. Oh,
I'll have to start.
So good.
Here I am.
Yeah.
I'm
I know you
actually gonna
can't.
leave now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we could leave if you're gonna. I would end it like right now abruptly. Just like roll the music. If you were just gonna go start playing Dragon Age Origins right now, I wouldn't even be mad. We'd figure it out later.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, there are some games I do want to talk about before we do end it.
Fair.
You know what? Let's unpin Ubisoft for a little bit.
Let's unpin it. Yeah.
Just unpin it. I think there's definitely some games I would like to circle back when it comes to Xbox, because there are some that I've been like trying to hype up for other people to try be excited about.
Nice.
But I'm actually interested in playing Assassin's Creed, Sean.
Yes.
I've never. Okay, you know what? Let's talk about my history with Assassin's Creed for a second here. So I had Assassin's Creed Origins. Actually, I remember I have it literally out in the hallway right now. I had the Yeti that came with Assassin's Creed Origins. And I'm like, I'm going to play this game. I'm so excited. I downloaded that game. It took a little while, but I'm like, it's going to be a great time, guys. I open it up. I start the game. I remember I was on a call with my sister because my sister gifted that to me for Christmas. And boy howdy, was I watching a cart with some camels, and they just end up flying into a building and just like glitched out and disappeared after they did this kind of like full flip. And I'm like, I like Bethesda, but this is too much for me. So I shut down the game and I didn't go back. I tried to play Odyssey. I didn't get into Odyssey. And then I'm just like, you know what? I want to play this game though. There's the two different play styles are completely different. And I think that's why it also gets me really excited, is because you have that like very like large and in charge character that's gonna be like kind of like the brute, of course, that has the he has this massive axe, and then of course the sword, and then we have the other character who's like like going around and just being silent as the knight and trying to get information and taking people out. So I'm not gonna be good at it, but I'll try it.
I mean, man, this game, I'm so day one on it, it's not even funny, but I also have pledged not to buy games this year, so this might have to be a review only kind of scenario. One of my favorite games of the Xbox One generation was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, actually. And really, it did start with Origins for me, and I fell off with Valhalla. I never finished. I wasn't even close to finishing Valhalla. So I've talked about that lots on the show as far as like a game being kind of too big and just endless. I wasn't looking for an endless game, but a lot of people were, and they appreciated it for that. But Assassin's Creed Shadows is something that people have been dreaming for ever since Assassin's Creed was a thing, and there's been dozens, I think, countless Assassin's Creed games here. And what I love about this is it just doesn't seem like a lot of compromise has been made here. Not on a graphic sense. When you have a game that's this big and expansive, sometimes like animations look a little bit weird, or the landscape looks a little bit janky. But like, dude, the puddle game here is pretty great, as we see. And of course, one of the first things we saw at the UB Forward was that you can indeed pet this dog anyways, which is always a plus. But man, like, yeah, let's go to Japan and battle some bad guys there. This looks incredible to me. And I'm getting the sense from I've kind of closed off the echo chamber, I think, on online, and mainly just in our Discord and stuff. I feel like people are pretty positive about Assassin's Creed, and I'm kind of just on a meta commentary of it all. I feel like that's a good thing. I'm glad that we can be excited about an Assassin's Creed game here. I know there's a bunch of stuff about the protagonist. I'm not addressing that even at all. But let's get to this game formula. I like what they do with Far Cry games. I like what they do with Assassin's Creed. Let's go get some quests and free some people and just keep playing. I love these games so much. So it's good to be positive about it. I feel the same way about Call of Duty. These very, very popular games, people love to hate on it. And I love kind of like rising above all that nonsense and just going, I'm going to be excited about this one and can't wait to play day one.
Yeah, like honestly, I feel like this past week I've been the most active when it comes to gameplay. Of course, reviewing, we live reacted. I was on Twitter constantly all weekend, and I've gotten to a point, Sean, where I've either curated my Twitter enough that I don't see the negativity,
Yeah.
or I just don't care anymore.
Totally.
Because it's just like when I see those tweets that people are getting negative, I'm like, whatever, and then I just kind of scroll past it. It's definitely taken me many years to get to this particular point, because sometimes I do read those negative comments and I'm like,
it can get to you. It can ruin it.
Exactly, but there's been so much positivity in like the gaming space, especially with the amount of like games that I've tried and like seeing all these like really small indies as well. Of course, I love to celebrate the indies, and that's a huge part of it, but I also want to like celebrate like games like this where a lot of people didn't know that this was going to be an Assassin's Creed game until we kind of like, we were all confused. We didn't know what it was until I think it was Ryan pointed out the dagger that came out of her essentially her guard, and I was just like, I love the fact that it doesn't scream Assassin's Creed. It's a new Assassin's Creed. Every Assassin's Creed doesn't have to be the exact same thing, and I think that's really cool because each character is different. It's not just a cookie cutter, and I've had issues with Ubisoft in the past because of it. I felt like they were all very cookie cutter in a way, and that was my gripe and my thought process. But this doesn't look like a previous Assassin's Creed game to me, and agreed. I love that. Not saying I hate the other games by any means. It's just I'm so excited to see where they're taking the series, and I think they needed this time off to make something like this.
Totally.
Because we may have seen the cookie cutter kind of like almost like feel to it, but this is completely different, and I love the fact that they're going this way. I love the fact that they're going a completely different path than before, and I'm excited. This gets me excited for the series because I want to see where they take it next.
Totally.
Where in the world are they going to be next? Where in the world is Assassin's Creed?
Carmen Sandiego.
Exactly.
I have this might be the most inflammatory thing I say. I get like one of these every single week. I'm like, I'm going to say something that's going to upset some people.
Okay.
Everybody's very excited about Grand Theft Auto 6, and rightfully so. Grand Theft Auto is a gigantic franchise, of course, billions of dollars in sales, all these different things. I feel like Assassin's Creed open world, to me, is more interesting. Like, I enjoy being in it, especially Odyssey. I think it's more fun. I feel like sometimes Grand Theft Auto can be a little bit kind of cliche, like, oh, it's violent and over the top and whatever. I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I feel like when it comes to what can we expect from GTA 6, I feel like it's got to beat Assassin's Creed. Like, there's very few gigantic open world games that exist in this space. Back in the day, it was like Saints Row kind of thing that was like a GTA clone. There was like the Godfather games or Mafia, things like that. And to me, Assassin's Creed is the one franchise that has sort of like stayed alongside Grand Theft Auto in a way. I'm not sure if too many people are making that comparison. In my mind, it's clear as day, just like huge worlds that you can kind of do whatever you want. Sandbox, I think, is the term that a lot of people
Yeah.
would use. Different, obviously, there's no driving and et cetera, but it's just a world that you can live in and do countless kinds of things. I think Assassin's Creed is totally fascinating, and I'm so glad that they took this different direction with it from where it used to be with Syndicate and those kinds of games, and then all of a sudden Origins comes out. It's like, oh, it's an RPG here as well. So just take it to a totally another level. I secretly kind of like, just, well, not so secretly, I do it on the show. Like, I cheer for Ubisoft. I love that they, as a publisher, they just really want to make big games and do stuff that's a really interesting way. I'm looking forward to Star Wars Outlaws. I know our very own Seth Sturgill. Looking forward to that as well. They're probably the biggest underdog in this weird way, because it's like people don't expect a publisher like this to come up with things like The Division 2 and Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. These games are massive, and in some cases maybe even like the definition of AAA. But somehow we underestimate Ubisoft, like, as a gaming community. Does that make sense at all?
100%. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, there's been other years where, like, the moment that I saw their showcase, I kind of shut down mentally. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm
they're
like,
not perfect though. Like, and this
No, by
showcase,
all
by the way,
means.
we're definitely focusing on Assassin's Creed. It was Assassin's Creed and Star Wars. That's it.
Yeah.
The
And
rest
that's
is
the
like,
thing. For the most of the, like, from my experience, and I know that there's a lot of, like, essentially shining stars when it comes to Ubisoft, but I agree. It's definitely, when you think of, like, big players in the space, Ubisoft is there, but I don't think it's ever been like everyone's like, oh man, Ubisoft's the best. It's been like, it's a AAA kind of like you said, it's a AAA underdog.
yeah, so
Because
weird.
it's a very weird vibe, and
Mhm.
I've said this in the past, and I mentioned it here as well, is I've had issues with previous Ubisoft games where they felt almost identical. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't like, okay, that's Far Cry, that's Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, and that's gonna make me sound very naive, and I look forward to people commenting this, but it's just like there was areas that I was just like, eh. But this time I'm like, this is very much Star Wars. This is very much Assassin's Creed in its own right. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm so excited for the Star Wars game. Like, this game looks phenomenal. Like, like, obviously there's probably gonna be some hiccups, and that's fine. But there's no loading screen, Shine.
I
She
know.
she went from Tatooine to space. Where's the loading screen? Which sounds very silly, but I'm so excited to see where this goes. I'm obviously going to be horrendous here. I'm going to crash into an asteroid and kill myself. But I'm here to play it. It's also just like the cute companion, and I love the fact that they continued with the very cute companion as a sidekick. But I'm also really interested to see this particular part of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Because right now we're seeing a lot of hate for Star Wars. I don't know if you know this, Sean.
I don't care.
Oh, that is good, because
Yeah, I'm outside.
I had a very long conversation about this week, and honestly, I think people are overreacting. You can also come at me for that one. I don't care, because I think it's still doing quite well. Because it's just one of those things, Sean, where something gets introduced, even though I don't know if people realize this is called Star Wars. There is hundreds of thousands of planets in the galaxy. People are going to do things differently, but gosh forbid that a group of people do something different because they're like, this ruins everything. And I'm like,
Oh,
you know
I think
what?
I know what people are upset about. I think I understand. It's the desert planet Tatooine having clouds. I get it. I'm on your side. That doesn't make any sense at all. That I am upset about that. The fact that Tatooine, a desert planet, has humidity and clouds. Not in my Star Wars. Is that what you're getting at? Is that what people are upset about?
That's exactly what people
Right.
are upset
Okay.
about.
Well, I'm
Not-
sorry to add to the negativity, but I ain't having it.
You know what? That's valid. I I can't believe there's
You don't
huge
even know what to do
conversation
with
about
me
this.
right now.
No,
Like,
it's
what-
like honestly, like Sean, the amount of conversations and arguments that I found on the internet afterwards, because I Googled that, and then after we finished the showcase and after everything else, I remember bringing up my Google search again, and there's so many people with that argument, and I'm like, this is a rabbit hole I am not venturing down, and I closed that
It's
tab.
really dumb. It's really.
and then-
I'm surprised that there's actually something there because I thought I was making something up, but
Not
there you are.
even.
Yeah, no,
So-
this is a real thing.
This is a
But that's not
huge-
what you're talking about, I don't think.
No, it wasn't.
No, something
but
dumber. Yeah.
You know what? I don't
Somehow.
care. People can have their own opinions, and I'm just excited to hang around Tatooine and become a gunslinging outlaw. And I'm gonna be the one who shoots first. That is my outlaw story.
Shocking.
Shocking indeed. I
Yeah,
am
we
the
all
nicest
know.
person in the galaxy. No, it just looks like a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I think this is the first time in a long time that I've been like, I definitely see myself buying this game. Mind you, Sean, you inspired me this year to try to avoid buying games. This was
I've
not
saved
the
so much
year.
money. Guys, I almost shared my credit card statement. Like, I've got things under control finally. Like, oh my gosh, been working so hard on this stuff. It's difficult.
It
Uh,
is.
Yeah, but we got free demos, which is great. This game could use a demo. Your boy loves a
Yeah.
demo. Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft, get some demos.
Get some demos, yeah, and then let the save progress carry over. But I also have to finish. I'm watching this. I think was it Garrett Bland telling us that he was playing Jedi Survivor. I feel like somebody on Carpool was just telling me this. Might have been Garrett Bland. And I
don't
gotta finish
remember.
that game. And then there's this. Man, every once in a while you just feel like you gotta quit your job and family responsibilities and whatnot and just do this. Like that'd be great. And
Man,
just-
the amount of times this week I thought doing that, Sean, I was just like, that would be irresponsible.
Yeah, who
but
needs
holy
money?
moly. But do I want to go and play demos all day?
yeah,
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Do I want to go play full games? Absolutely. I have Baldur's Gate games to play, guys.
exactly. That's all you need.
I need to hang out with Astarion, Gale, and the friends in that game.
Yeah,
but
whatever
no,
that means.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna find out.
I
this
assume
summer,
that's
Sean.
good. Yep.
It is.
I need to know if I'm commit. Like this is the thing. The thing that you mentioned about demos, which is nice, is like you don't have to like fully commit. I don't want to just like casually play Baldur's Gate. I don't even know if that's even possible to just go like, yeah, I'll just like get around to it. It's a commitment. There's a promise and a pledge to be made.
But see, that's what I like the idea of like setting up maybe like a weekly thing. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like a
Mm.
D&D session. Because like
Okay.
it's just like, when people like set up a time, they sit down for a few hours, they do a session, maybe they do a few fights, and then like, okay, we're just
Ooh.
gonna pause this, and then next week we'll see what happens. That's actually what Neil Newbin, who is the voice actor and the character like actor for Astarion, does. He does that each week. He has streams specifically for Baldur's Gate, and he's literally, I think he just got to he's just finishing Act 2, getting into Act 3, Sean. The game
Okay.
came out last August. He plays very small amounts. He actually plays with a actual author and a screenwriter, and they just play the game together, and that's all they do. It's just a few hours. They put a hold on it. Sometimes they get 2 streams a week. Sometimes they don't get to stream for 2 weeks, but then they come back to it, and then they continue the story as if it was like a D&D session.
Okay.
So I think that's a really good way of thinking about it, rather than being like, oh god, I have to do 100 hours. It's like, okay, just a few hours each week, or maybe you get to do one big fight, and then
Yeah.
that's all you get to do that
Yeah.
time. Or like you get to do like a few small things, and you're like, okay, we did a lot today. We may have just gone all the way over to like the Goblin camp and did a few interactions there, and that's all we can do. That's fine.
I might have to, yeah, because I definitely need to rethink how I do this. And Dragon Age Origins, going back to that, was one of the last ones that I remember playing for like 8 or 10 hours straight. And then once kids happened, like those days went away. Being able to like play a game for multiple, like 2 days in a row, even having like 8 or 10 hours in front of the TV. That was once upon a time. That's what I was able to do, and I've not been able to do that really since. And even if I had an opening for it, I'd probably just fall asleep. Actually, if I had that kind of opening in front of the TV on my old man recliner, I just get a little too cozy. Just fall asleep, a little dozy even.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that. I've been like, it's the weekend.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play so much stuff, and then Saturday comes, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna stream and play video games, and then I sleep for 5 hours on my
Yeah.
sofa, and I'm like, well, I have to do something productive today, or I'm gonna
Mistakes
feel
were
like
made.
mistakes were made. But boy, howdy, was that nap good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Worth it. You needed
Worth
it.
it.
Yeah.
We needed it. But yeah, no, there's just this like Ubisoft, and then of course Xbox. There were so many games at Xbox, which by
Yeah.
the way, I'm just gonna call out someone here.
Oh, do it.
I'm gonna do it. So I may have gotten a little heated with one of my other co-hosts,
Uh-oh.
Mario
Mario?
Rivera.
What happened?
Mostly because he was just like, this is Xbox's showcase to essentially win me over, because he didn't think that they were going to do so swell. Because as we saw with PlayStation, which I'm not going to start anything with the PlayStation fans here, but I was just like, you're making it sound like you're like setting them up for failure essentially. And we had this argument, and we both got a little heated. It was late. We were both going back and forth with each other. And then I felt bad about it. I apologized to him. And then the showcase happened. Sean, 3 games in, I was thinking to myself, I didn't need to apologize at all. What did I apologize for? And then this week I yelled at him again because I'm like, I shouldn't have apologized to you. You thought they weren't going to do well. And guess what? You were wrong. I was right. Boom. And I dropped the microphone, and then I wish I left, because that would have been a great moment to leave.
And then
but
you
I
picked up the microphone, you dusted it off, and made sure it was still working.
Exactly, because I'm considerate, and honestly, that's expensive. But I digress. But no, the amount of games and back to back, just like it was banger after banger after banger. And it's wild that they just released so many titles that are going to be coming out within the next year. And of course, there are a few sprinkled in there that are going to be longer, but that's fine. We need to know at least a little bit. At least it wasn't 70% games that are coming out in 2026 and later. It was like 80% games that are going to be within the next year, and then a few sprinkled out that are like, they didn't give us dates. That's fine.
Did you see that Tom Warren rumor that Gears E-Day is 2025, but they don't want to say it? He thinks it's closer than anybody's letting on. Like, what if Gears is next year? I mean, this is life as an Xbox player, by the way. Like, welcome to Xbox. You get your hopes up for the next year, and then who knows what's going to happen. But if it's Fable is 2025, they at least told us that. Like, Fable and Gears at the very least in the same year, and then Doom is next year. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Holy crap.
Sean, Doom Dark Ages is going to make me so sick. And I'm so excited.
We've got to find a cure. Like, we got to fund this research. Like, what is going on? What can we do for you? Like, is it a ginger ale solution that we can create for you?
Sean, I'm going to have like a little setup, and it's going to be right here. It's going to be gravel, ginger ale. It's going to have like motion sickness weights.
Yes.
It's going to have everything.
Just Pepto, just Pepto-Bismol also, just in case.
Means.
Soda crackers.
Sponsor us, by the way, guys. Whoever's listening right now, sponsor us, because I will go to town as long as it helps me play games like this. Because honestly, I want to take a freaking Morning Star and I want to whip it around with my chainsaw shield and just do this, just smash people's heads in playing death metal music. Please. I need this experience.
I know.
It's so good. It's just like, oh man,
games that go hard. That's what I'm like. We gotta like patent it or something. Like, make it a bumper sticker or something. Like, we want to play games that go hard. I think, man, I have all these like ideas for like video game essays and things like this. I think that there's something to this. I think if we were to look back over the last couple of years, like The Last of Us Part 2 maybe qualifies in there, like games that really went for it. And if I'm missing something, like, I want people to like put it on my radar. I feel like there's a lot of games that I do miss because like maybe I'm just mostly talking about like the AAA, the mainstream kind of games that just are there to not offend anybody, to make sure that they sell the most, they're palatable to a gaming audience, they're mainstream, they're following trends. All these things are just like, like not bold at all. And some of them are fun. Like, I'm not equating a good game experience with that. I'm looking for something that's just like, it's unadulterated, just balls out. That's why Grand Theft Auto, by the way, is so popular. It's not just that it allows you to do crazy things. It's because it doesn't give a damn. And people like that. And maybe that 90s attitude is kind of like coming back a little bit. Maybe that's why it resonates with me so much, because that's when I really grew up, was just like, who cares? It's alternative and it's different and it's going to stand out because everything else is just so generic. But
I mean, like, one of my favorite gaming experiences last year was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with my friend Frank, and we were in a tank and we were
Frank the
shooting
Tank.
Frank the Tank. We were just blasting music, which was specifically Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time, which, by the way, the moment that I heard that on the first time in Grand Theft Auto 5, I broke Frank's keyboard. I screamed because
Aggressive.
I love that song. It's just so good. I wasn't expecting it, and I'm like, oh my god! And he's like, what? And then he knocked over his water bottle, and it like waterboarded his keyboard, and it was just a huge mess. But holy moly, that song is great. But like,
When you say Frank, are you talking about BobLoblaw?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I named him Frank. I don't know his real name, and I was like, I'm gonna call you Frank. So I was wondering if that's who you're talking about.
I mean, I want to know who this person is.
BobLoblaw?
Yeah.
Remember BobLoblaw from the old days? BobLoblaw, what the heck was his?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, anyway, that's like 9-10 years ago at this point.
Holy moly. Yeah, no,
Yeah, We the Gamercast guest from way back when.
Frank was driving the tank. I was on the back of it. I was shooting cops because we were at a 5-star rating, and just like Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time was playing.
Amazing.
And I'm like, this is just chef's kiss. It doesn't have to be death metal, like things like that.
Right.
It's just like, it gets you hyped. And that was just the
Makes
moment
you feel
where
something.
yeah, it made me feel something, and I'm just like, yeah, and I was just like that, or the time that we were playing like Red Dead Redemption, and we were like in this loop, and we were waiting for a mission to like complete, and you have to wait a specific amount of time to get a specific amount of money.
Yeah.
And I just ended up just shooting people, and I was just running around and like stabbing people with a dagger, which was also there's somewhere on the internet.
I feel like this is something special about you. You're such a sweet person, but also just like deathly violent. I think that's just a magical mix that we have with you. I love that so much.
That's why I relate to that music video where it's like Dude Man and like Isabel from
Yes.
Animal Crossing. I'm like, this is my song, because
Yeah.
it's just like a mix between like really cozy games and then like bloody murder, and then just mixing them together. And I'm like, this is the type of, that's why
Fiona.
I'm so excited for like Grave Season. Don't even get me started on that game.
Well, that's cabaret, nice sweet party, and then all of a sudden everybody's vampires and you're killing everyone.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Nice.
There's a game, Sean, and I watched the trailer again, and after watching it not restreamed, I am so excited for, which is Wu Chang,
Oh yeah.
Fallen Feathers. Which is not, what is it? There's like Never Ending or something. I forget the actual title that we thought it was the title, but it wasn't actually.
Oh,
the title
Never
of the game.
Forever, like Nothing is Forever, or something like that.
Nothing is Forever. Yes. I am like, that game looks insane. Like guys, this particular trailer in 4K is astounding, and it's creepy, and it's like really disturbing, but at the same time, just like the quotes and like the message of it, I want to play this game. I'm not a Souls person. This makes me want to play a Souls game. Mind you, I still need to play Elden Ring from start to finish.
Me too. Oh, we should do science together. We could play it at the same time. That would be so fun.
Oh my gosh, I learned too much about Elden Ring, and my brain's melted. I'm down though. I want to play this. This is like, I don't know why, like usually, like I've wanted to get into Souls, but this is so cool. This looks so interesting, and the idea that she's turning into one of the monsters as well, and she's infected. I'm like, yes, this is what I want. This also kind of reminds me of what is it, Silent Hill F, that we saw a trailer for last year, which was kind of like the girl who like is walking in the trailer, and then you find out she's actually infected. This kind of gives me the same vibes.
Games that go hard, man. Like the character design, the enemy design is so great. Like the animation is amazing. The attacks are vicious. This is what I mean. I'm looking for that. I don't want just like countless hordes of stuff, although sometimes that can be fun. That's what I'm willing to, and it's worthwhile to get over the fact that these games are difficult and challenging, because you get to experience all the rest that comes with it. Like these boss designs are, man, like it's not in the same way as like a Kojima game, But like, yeah, thank you for thinking about this boss for more than 5.5 seconds and giving it some design and character, and that you'll remember it 6 months after playing these games because of the way they came at you, and you really had to figure out how to solve for that. And yeah, some of them have like a head hanging out of a head, hanging out of a tooth, hanging out of their leg. It's like, what is going, like, they're just so, the deformation in these characters, it's like a nightmare come to life in some of these cases. I love it. And it shows up in, of all places, in these games that are just wickedly difficult. But yeah, like, you walk out into the field in Elden Ring and just the landscape out there, you're like, oh, I've been used to crawling in dungeons in Dark Souls and stuff. But there's a beauty to it, and the gameplay is so rock solid. The controls, while the gameplay is difficult, it does exactly what you want it to. Like, you want to turn this way, you want to dive that way, you want to attack. Like, it's fair. Those are the things that make those games stand out and recognizable. But people don't really talk about that because that's just the way they are.
Yeah.
And that's the way they've been designed. That's the thing that's the through line of them is how well they control and how fair it actually is, even though it's very, very difficult. And it's just practice. That's all it is. Like, I truly believe, because I'm not a talented gamer at all, and I can play Bloodborne and Dark Souls and things. So I mean, I'm not great at it, but I enjoy myself. I get good enough to enjoy it, which is all I'm asking and suggesting that other people do too.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's like, I agree with definitely the bosses. That's a huge thing, is thinking of like like we don't even know the story in the preface right now of how the
Right.
bosses correlate with what's happening. There could be like a plague that's who knows? We
Yep.
are only going off of what we saw in the trailer. Another one that I think the bosses are going to like really resonate with me is the Midnight South game that they showed as well.
South of Midnight.
South of, I'm so bad at that name for some reason. Yeah, South of Midnight. Those bosses look crazy.
Yep.
Like the entire, like the tree alligator that also has like a world on it, like almost like an ecosystem on his back.
Yes.
And then him just like coming out. And then the cat. I love Sean. Sassy side characters. I want to collect them all. And this catfish is resonate. I want this. I want the catfish as a. I need this as a plushie. I need this as a statue. I love this character already, and I'm so excited to like find out more about our relationship with the catfish, because he almost seems like our guide and narrator. Also, it looks so whimsical in a way.
Yeah.
Like, it looks realistic, but then at the same time it has like this claymation whimsy and then almost like a spirit kind of vibe to it. You know what it also looks like? It looks like those dancing dragons that they have at like parades.
Oh, yeah.
It's so, the texture on it, like every time I look at this trailer, I see more and more work that went into this.
Looks handcrafted.
Yeah, that's what I love. It looks so different, and it doesn't
Yeah.
look, it's not smooth. I don't want it to be smooth. I want it to be
Agreed.
jagged. I want to see the texture. I want to see like what material is this like creature made out of? Like, what's
Yes.
happening here?
Yes.
This is not a normal catfish, guys. Shocker! Catfish aren't this large. They are large, but they're
pretty
not
close.
this large.
Yeah, some of them
Pretty
can
close.
get disgustingly huge. But yeah, this is, it's interesting because like maybe this is somewhere Xbox could go, and Fable kind of in line with this as well. You can't get this on Nintendo. Like, and this doesn't really, in a lot of ways, really look like a PlayStation game. There's a lot of people have been comparing some of the traversal to like an Infamous, but really this is quite unique. You talk about what'd you say, sassy side characters? I want to direct you to Glottis from Grim Fandango. Have you ever played Grim Fandango? This catfish is giving me huge Glottis vibes from this old classic game, Grim Fandango, man.
So I actually haven't played it myself. However, I watched a streamer. His name is Sips. He's a part of the Yogs cast. I watched him play from start to finish, and it was phenomenal. Also, the fact that Sips is also just a very sassy, like, older guy, so it was just perfect. And so yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
agree. He had that vibe. He's very
Yeah.
sassy. But I like that. I like the kind of like, it doesn't have to be like a super like supportive side character. I want to see the grit. I want to see like kind of the back and forth. Obviously it's like feel as though they're like on the same playing field. It's not like you're above that character. It's
Right.
they're teaching you about this, and they're like, we don't know what's happening. And it's just very unique. And I love that. It's something that like it's different. It's like even this boss looks nuts. For context, we're currently looking at this boss that's currently, and it almost has like a almost lava, like ethereal kind of look with one large arm and one small arm, and he's just whipping himself and rolling around and glowing.
A leg
different...
coming out of his guts, like out of his belly. I don't even know if this is a boss fee, actually. I think this is just a specific encounter. I don't even know. I have no idea, but it's like a one-on-one for sure. They're like 1v1 me, bro. You know, just and then all the death and decay vanishes, and you bring beauty back, like life comes back out of the ground. Yeah. And man, I like, what is going on here?
See, it reminds me a lot of a very, like, it's actually a like a manga series as well as a movie that was made by Studio Ghibli, which is Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, which is about a young woman who essentially is traversing and trying to figure out what's happening to where she lives, because it's currently being infected by this black toxin, and they think it's the creatures that are causing it. So it always kind of like stuff like this kind of always reminds me of that. So I'm very interested to see, who knows, maybe there are elements of that. And if that's the case, I'm not going to tell you what happens in Nausicaa, because there's an explanation that might spoil this game. Who knows how close they are. But I digress. Like this alligator, that's so cool. Just like the trees growing out of its back, and the fact that alligators, guys, for context, you don't know where alligators are until they are about to take off your arm. They are incredibly good at camouflaging, at least from what I learned while watching the Discovery and Animal Planet, and also Steve Irwin when I was a kid. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Torterra.
We have Pokemon in this game, people. That's what we got.
Massive Pokemon.
Yeah.
Massive Pokemon. It looks so cool. Yeah. I'm so excited for this. And I'm also excited to learn, like, maybe we find out some lore about the South. Like, we saw some characters that seem very reminiscent of, like, Princess and the Frog. They have, I don't remember the names of the characters in that movie. I've only seen it once, and it was a long time ago.
I've never seen it.
Well, it's phenomenal. Like, it is really good. I just don't remember specifically the characters, but I always like to learn about like different regions and their folklore. And so I'm hoping that we get some of that in this game. But geez, just like the fact that it's a log and it opens up, and it's like not even just like a perfect log, it's a broken. I'm sold.
Yeah, 2025 next year, man.
Game
Let's
Pass.
Go. Yeah. I hope it hits 2025. Obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. But again, welcome to playing on Xbox, where the next year is always going to be amazing.
Oh my goodness.
But I mean, maybe indie's going to be good. I know I didn't want to offend you when I said I don't like the movies, but I am interested in the game. I think that game looks really fun. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Good. Is there any games other games that were at Xbox that you want to highlight?
Oh man, I feel like we could probably go through it over the next couple of weeks. We haven't even done questions yet. We're like 2+ hours in. Like we're kind of going with it, everybody.
I like the fact, Sean, that you said, and I quote,
"Yeah,
it would be it. You know what? A short podcast might.
It could be a short show because it's just me and Fee. Like we're not 4 of us, but like, yeah. What do
Sean,
I know?
That's the problem. I think you and I are the ones who talk constantly, and we get like, and I love Bowser, I love Mitch by all means, but I feel like when you and I are left in a room together, we just constantly are talking.
Here
so
it
we
is.
could be here hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they had. I mean, we also. This is probably a really good time to direct people, if you haven't already listened to our deep dive on the showcase itself. I feel like I did get to say a lot, but you were hosting, so you had to kind of like direct the conversation. So I appreciate you being able to like kind of cover a little bit of that tonight, as well as I was a guest on the PSVG podcast. So people should definitely go check that out, because I did another 3.5 hours with Donnie and Josh over there, and got to break it down in a slightly different way, which I really appreciated. Donnie broke it down in terms of like games that are coming out right away, and then we talked about the games that are coming out in 2025, and then we talked about the games that had no dates, which were Gears and Perfect Dark, and there was one other one. What was the third one? Can't even remember. Doesn't matter. Do you remember the third game that didn't have a date? The more I think about it, it's escaping me, and people listening are just screaming at me. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. There's no way to know.
No way to know.
Yep. That's okay.
Yeah,
I'll find out in like 5 minutes and then I'll blurt it out.
I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of games. I think there's some games that we can definitely put a pin in it until we get Mitch back, of course,
Yes.
because we can definitely get some more deep dive into things. And yeah, it was a lot of fun hosting that podcast. I definitely would say that there was like a lot times where I was just like, man, I want to be able to sit down and like have this not
State
be
of Decay.
this.
I remembered. It was State of Decay. Didn't have a date.
There
That
you
was the
go.
third one. Sorry, everybody.
It's a-okay.
That was
I just-
torture for everybody else. It's State of Decay, you idiot! Did you even watch the showcase? That's what they're saying.
You know what? If I just scrolled up on my notes that I have in front of me, it literally says State of Decay 3, Undead Labs, Game Pass, no release date.
No date. Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. Fine.
This is what I could have done. Man.
Do you want to do questions? Do we have time for questions?
Yeah, let's. You know what? I'm here for questions.
Okay. We're just getting belligerent over here with it. And maybe next week we can bring back Bowser and Mitch into it as well, because I would like to go through some of our predictions. I feel like Mitch is gonna lay claim to something that he thinks he got right or whatever. He said Gear 6 is gonna be shown. That obviously doesn't count. But he did say actually he is gonna get points for this. Perfect Dark finally gets shown. Yeah, he's gonna get points for that. Shout out to Mitch. Good for you, buddy.
Good for you.
Okay. Did I paste the questions in here? Holy crap. Where's Bowser when we need her? Let's start with Brian X says, are you guys at all worried that a number of high budget titles shown at the showcase are going to underperform in 2025 with how many games will be on the market despite critical acclaim? Do you think that's why they haven't dated a bunch of games? Makes me wonder if they're still evaluating the best way to roll out so many highly anticipated games. Could you see a game or two slip and be delayed? Fiona, are you worried about how many games don't have dates?
I'm not. And honestly, I think it kind of goes back to, and I am definitely case number one, and I have issues with this, and I've done this in the past, and it's something that's taken me a long time to kind of separate it, is realizing that a lot of these games that we think are kind of underperforming, they're doing a great job. We're just comparing them to other things.
Yeah.
And so if we can just go into it as like a blank slate, looking at the game, playing it, and honestly, guys, this is going to be a shocker, and I know a lot of you listening definitely are already on the right track and have already been doing this, and shout out to you guys, is being able to play a game and having a different opinion than what we currently are seeing with critics, because there are a lot of comments and like things, like we saw this a lot with, for example, Hellblade, which was, Sean, phenomenal review by the way, but there was a lot of people that didn't like the game. And the thing was, a lot of people were comparing it, of course, to the first game. And I think, of course, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I think just making sure that when you are playing these games, especially next year, because there's going to be a lot coming out, over the next few years, is paying attention to just the game itself and try not to compare it to other things. And I know that's really difficult. I know I've struggled with that in the past, but I've slowly found a way to think about it as like, this particular title, like, what do I think of it? Does it bring me joy? It doesn't have to be like the god tier of games to bring you joy. It could be a game that's like an indie game. It could be a very small, it could be a very janky game, whatever the situation might be. But I think being able to go in and think, like, just have fun with it.
Yeah.
And don't be overcritical of things. And I definitely am not concerned about some things not getting release dates, especially when it came to Xbox. Because honestly, there's so much coming out as it is. I think it was a good opportunity to highlight. I think it would have been odd for them to not show anything without release dates. So it was, if they showed, like I've said multiple times at this point, if there was all of the games that had no release dates or half or more, I would be more concerned right now.
Yeah, it's a deep question. Something that 2024, and I think the Hellblade review is going to go down as something that's really going to highlight a lot of stuff for me as as members or as like the podcasting community, we get to comment on stuff all the time. And as just gamers, we find ourselves like kind of caught in the narratives that get sown throughout all of this stuff. And something that really, really jumped out to me with Hellblade that I'm going to be more mindful of myself. And I guess I would request other podcasters and people who consume podcasts is to be aware of where the opinion is actually coming from. Is it a secondhand opinion, or is it a primary source? As in, did you play the game? Did the podcaster you're listening to, did they play the game? Or are they speaking about things that they had heard? Because this is the essence of an echo chamber, is just repeating what has been said before and making it louder and louder and further from the truth, because it's reporting on somebody else's experience that they heard from somebody else that they heard from somebody else. Like, I think that's something that's really important. And I've always been kind of like aware of it, but it was Hellblade specifically that like I kind of started to stop listening to people who clearly didn't play it. And if you played it and didn't like it, totally fine. But like that to me is a really simple way to start to filter, who am I actually going to be listening to? Some of my favorite podcasters I found were just like talking about the game. They hadn't played it themselves, and they would have that like slight disclaimer, like, I didn't play it myself, and then they would go on for 5 minutes about this game that they didn't play. And it's like, I don't think that that's really being all that genuine and honest with the audience in that case, because like you did state you didn't play it, but then you went on, like you talked about it as if you did. And I think that's frustrating. I think podcasters do it. I think we do it as well, like as just gamers in conversation. So I would just ask like people kind of be aware of it. It's tricky not to get caught up in that kind of thing. And I don't want to be condemning, like coming on my high horse over here and kind of doing that kind of thing. But I just realize it a lot, that people have opinions about games that they didn't play, and they're just regurgitating things that they heard. Tons of games are coming out this year, so I think it was a good blend of, I think that's what you said, like the good blend of games that are coming out very, very soon, and we got a sense of what's coming in the future. I think we know why there's not a lot of dates specifically, and it's because when a game slips, it's in the trash, it's in the dumpster. It's this notion of the game's development becoming part of how we evaluate the game. So like you take that out of the equation, and you're trying to take the drama away from it. But unfortunately, like, no offense, Brian, but like this question inserts drama into something that doesn't need drama. It's them trying to avoid missing a date. And I think it is as simple as that. I don't think it has anything to do with really much else. Could be trying to figure out when games launch in relation to each other, because now there's a lot there. But ultimately, it's, they're trying to get into Game Pass, and I don't even want to get into the business strategy of Xbox here. But do you enjoy the games? Yes or no? Move on.
Well, I think it also kind of helps, at least in my point of view, especially with the fact that I've been so enwrapped and enthralled with indies. There have been some indie games that I've played demos for a few years ago, and they just released this year because they had a set expectation of like there's no estimated time. Sometimes it's one person, it's a small group,
right?
And sometimes, it's happened before where there has been a few indie games where I was just like, I'm really excited for this. It said the fall of 2022. There's a game that just came out this spring that was going to be coming out fall of 2022. I don't care. Like, I think, like, I'm obvious. Like, I personally haven't played it. I haven't gone back. I'm gonna go
unless you kickstarted a game that they said it was going to be available like the next year, and then the Switch is almost done its life cycle and the game still isn't out. Just as a hypothetical, totally made up, not real scenario that's happened to me.
Not real at all. No, I just think that just making sure that like when it comes to, there's so many games out right now. Enjoy the games that we currently have, and like honestly,
just play them. You might not enjoy it. Like, that's all I ask is that you actually play it. Is kind of it, and make up your own opinion.
Yeah, there's been games that I didn't think I was gonna like. Loved it. I didn't know if I was gonna like Baldur's Gate 3. I played Dungeons and Dragons Online, Sean, and I hated every second of it. Oh wow. Yeah. I did not like that game. I thought the character creation was horrible. The actual like trying to get set up, mind-breakingly terrible. But then I played I was very concerned about Baldur's Gate. It wasn't on my radar. I literally played like 700 hours last year. Yeah. Plus. Damn. So it's just, it really, like, go play it yourself. Don't
play it yourself.
We hype games up here. We talk about games. We talk about our opinions. Go try out the game yourself. Mm-hmm. Definitely, of course, listen to the podcast. Thank you for listening and giving us this question. But yeah, try out some games that maybe you didn't think that you would enjoy. This is a great opportunity. Yeah. This week alone, go try out some demos. That's my tip to all of you. Play a demo that you might think that you might not enjoy. You might find a game that you actually love. So
I love it. I'm just gonna slip in an answer to the final question that Brian Eck here said. Could you see a game or two slip and be delayed? I could see a Avowed getting delayed, and I wouldn't care. They don't have a date there, and it came out in February. Be fine with that. If Indiana Jones came out in March or February next year, totally fine with that. But I think it's more just a matter of like wanting to hit that date. I think there's other games that will be scheduled. You don't want to Titanfall it, you know? So you don't want to put these games out to die. So I think that's part of it.
honestly, Sean, it kind of feels like when you're at like it's the end of the school year and then
Yeah,
you're like, oh
it is
gosh,
the
I
end
have
of
this
school year.
essay. It is the end of the school year. But see, the thing is, one of these games that you're like really excited for are like, oh, actually, we need a few months. I'm like, oh goodness, thank
Yeah,
God.
finish it.
Like
Polish it.
polish it up, and then I have so many other games on my backlog that I thought I had to put on hold. I get to go enjoy those games. Guys,
Yeah.
there are millions of games out there on
Yeah.
multiple platforms. Go check out some games. Or
I'm
play
gonna
Baldur's
speak
Gate.
out of both sides of my mouth right now too, because I will
Sure.
like look, when you're looking forward to a game and it gets delayed, that does suck. Like there's no question about it. I don't want to take that away from anybody, but you know, the Miyamoto quote is always there to help us. CrocoKyle comes in also talking about the showcase, says, now that we're a week out from the showcase, do y'all think 2025 is going to be another 2023 in terms of nonstop banger game releases? With some of the games that were announced along with GTA 6 and likely the Switch 2, it looks to be shaping up that way to me. I mean, yeah. 2020. I'm a fan of odd years. I have a weird thing with odd years like 2025, 2023, 2021. Like I don't know what it is. When was COVID? COVID was 2020. I mean, technically it was
that's an even
COVID-19,
year.
but yeah, I mean, that's all the proof I need to prove my point. But yeah, 2025, pretty dang great. 2024, also good. I get in my high horse about this kind of thing too. It's like, I need a visual again, always. Like 2024, pretty great year. We're all playing the games this year and everything we just talked about, Star Wars and Assassin's Creed. I think Call of Duty looks really great. There's a bunch of games coming out this year that look really good and continue to test me on whether or not I can not buy any new games day one, but we'll see, man.
Yeah.
2025 looks incredible. And there's something special about like that, like history in the making almost when you're like, oh, is this like another 1998 kind of thing? Like some of those years that are just banner years. And yeah, I hope so. But it also doesn't take away from 2024 for me, even though it is an even year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like a runaway train where you're like, another one and another one. Like I can't even keep up with this stuff. As endearing, as amazing that sounds, like there's something about this year that there's a little bit of space in between the games. You can actually play them and enjoy them a little bit. So that's been nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna
For now.
definitely. I honestly, I'm gonna be playing GTA when it comes out. And I haven't even played story mode for GTA 5. I just play online all the
Yeah.
time. Well, I don't right now. I uninstalled it. But I enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to the chaos because that's the only reason why I usually play Grand Theft Auto.
I was just checking for any final questions in the Discord, and I am seeing everybody post pictures of us on their TVs in the Discord. So that is remarkable. And shout out to Hoppel for pasting a link to my unboxing of the Series X in the back of my truck. Yes, that is. You guys are the best. Incredible. Did you see that? You know, we saw you did see this. The new hardware that they announced at the showcase last week included the white digital Series X that they've got. First of all, before I get to Donnie's question about this, what do you think of that? The digital only Series X.
Okay, first of all, guys, you're gonna not like me here, and that's
Uh-oh.
fine. I'm cool. I have a white PC. I have a white mouse. I have a white keyboard. I have a white controller. I would get the white digital deluxe edition.
There you go.
Like I think that looks. I would love that. I like my entire thing. As you can see, you may not have noticed, it's purple, black, and white with some like natural elements. Is kind of like the design of what I'm currently going for, and I think it would fit right. It would fit really nice.
Hey,
here.
okay.
So, yeah, I think I
don't hate that.
I think I know some people are like, and I know some of you that were on the panel were like, I wouldn't be a huge fan of white. I kind of wish that, like, honestly, I think it would have been a good opportunity to have maybe a actual cool color deluxe edition. But you know what? like this. Like, guys, I don't know if you guys know that this controller is beautiful. I think they should
Starfield.
do something like this. I haven't
Yeah.
even played Starfield. I just
I have a
have the
Starfield
controller.
wrap. Oddly enough, I do have like I have that Starfield wrap on my Series X, so it ostensibly is a white Series X, but it is. I think let me jump in with Donnie's question here because he's definitely on one side of that.
Yeah.
He does not like this white design, and I'm mostly with him. I think. Donnie says, "Will Xbox ever make more console wrap designs now that they have the most plain console to ever exist in the all-white digital Series X?" Obviously, you like the white design. I like the white Series S, but the Series S has the like Oreo speaker on it that
Yeah.
kind of adds a little bit of contrast to it. The Starfield wrap for the Series X adds a little bit of design and color and geometry to it, which is nice. But I mean, if you're going for an all white aesthetic, like I hadn't thought of that actually. And I'm gonna be building. I already have a PC case. It's a white PC case. I'm pricing out white components and motherboard and RAM and everything. Like I'm actually gonna do the thing. It'll probably later on this year.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that's a good opportunity. Of course, having wraps, and I know there's a lot of people who love wraps, which, by the way, yes, Drellesh, there is silver. I have silver headphones and stuff like that, too. At some point, I'm going to have to, like, either spray paint them. Who knows what I'm going to do. But I think it's, like, a really good opportunity. I don't know. I think it's just, like, the way that I think about it is this, like, they have very neutral, like, consoles because they have so much inside. Like, there's so much, like, kind of like it's like a blank slate. And then
Yeah.
everything else, like the games and like the real like thing is the games that come with it, not the actual consoles. Because for some context, there's a band that I like. Actually, it's the album that's like literally sitting right there. It is by a band called Big Bang. And when you open it up, there's actually a blank canvas in it because it's like express your own creativity. And I think that's kind of what Xbox is doing with theirs. It's just like, yes, it is white. Yes, it is black. Yes, it is kind of looking boring. They don't have like a Spider-Man wrap or like God of War or like things that we see with like PlayStation, but it's because they have so much inside that like it's what the inside that counts, guys. I like also
I guess.
put some I know it sounds silly. I get that. And it's just the artist in my brain going like bleep bleep bleep.
But even like they could do something like with the geometry. What I think Donnie's point here is, and I might be putting words in his mouth, but I'll kind of expand on the point. The One X looked great to me, and so did actually the PS4. Like I think just from a geometry standpoint, they looked great. And all like the Series X is really interesting to your point. Like it matters what's on the inside. It is fascinating to see what they were able to compress into that space. That's really cool because if you look at the PS5, it's a monstrosity. I know this is an Xbox podcast. You probably expect me to say that, but whatever. PS5 is way too big. So really the challenge that both companies were coming at this generation was how are they going to compress all of this like computing power into this space. But man, it would be kind of nice if they added just like a little something to it. You know, like think about the One X looked incredible. It looked man, it looked almost like intense. It looked almost like aggressive. It looked like it was a powerful machine. And there's something to that in terms of its what's it called, like industrial design to it that it's great that they got all that computing power in a little rectangle, but I don't know, like a different shape, some sharp angles, something in there, and maybe even something that indicates it's an Xbox. You know, like there's not really anything. PS5 might be big and bulbous, but at least it looks like something identifiable. So maybe that's why people end up liking it over there. I'll take plain over bulbous, but still, I look for something else that gives me a little something that tells me that's an Xbox more than the power button, by the way.
Yeah, like honestly, they could like I know something that's like huge right now is like black on black or like having just like
right
almost,
two-tone.
Two-tone, having like maybe just like an X that maybe like a different texture, but it's like just the
glossy
pattern on
and matte.
Yeah, the glossy and matte, and just having like an X maybe like completely like take over. So like the sides have like the lines, and then it goes in the front with like the actual X.
Make it an X. Bring back the original Xbox.
Just like make it a huge
Add an X on it.
I'm gonna make designs and then just post it in the Discord, and I'm just like, if I actually made like Microsoft, if you listen to me and I put out designs, this is what you guys should do next.
Yeah, something.
just something a little bit different, because I
Mhm.
definitely agree. Like, I think minimalistic is a huge thing right now, is like minimalism, making it look really classy and stuff. But I also agree with you that like some of the earlier iterations look better. I think it's just because, and this happens a lot recently, and I've been my TikTok is wild, guys. But one of the things is like people who take like old school houses and then they just make them like just white. The entire interior is now white and gray. That's it. They like rip all the personality out of it and there's nothing left. And I think that Xbox has gone a little too far when it comes to minimalism. And I think they could bring back something to make it stand out and make it, because I like the size of the Xboxes. I think it's a lot better than freaking the Doom siren, like what is it? Mount Sion, or whatever, like the Lord of the
What?
Rings. It's the big
Oh,
eye.
oh, Sauron, the
Yeah,
Eye of Sauron.
the
Yeah.
Eye of Sauron. That's it. My apologies.
Yeah, for the
Because that's
PS5 and
the
vertical.
PS5.
Mhm.
Yeah, that looks terrifying, guys. I don't know where to put that.
Neither do I.
No one knows where to put it. It's just, I think that there's some really good opportunities. Maybe make it clear on the sides, guys. Just have like white and like, or black on the top, and then the side. Give us some LEDs.
Yes. That's what honestly, I kind of can't believe they haven't done it yet. Like some sort of like RGB, something like that. I mean, that's all people really want to do. They just want to make it their own. You know, they
Yeah.
want to be able to like express themselves. And again, maybe that's Donnie's point. You got a plain black one with like sort of fake green on the top grill, and then this plain white one. And it kind of goes back to my point earlier about just like games that do and don't go hard. Like this console in its design, it's just unoffensive and just
Yeah.
kind of, it's fine. But I kind of wish that they had some sort of iteration by now. It doesn't need to be like a pro or anything, but something different. A wrap for sure. Man, they've got a. There's some of us. There's dozens of us who have Xboxes. Like we would spend money on this, and we'll see. Maybe there's an Avowed. Dude, the key art for Avowed, you put that on a wrap and it'll sell out. That would be incredible. Please, or a console. That's really what I think they should be doing.
You know what they should do? Just full danger. Just base it off of the chainsaw shield. Just have like on the top, just like an actual chainsaw.
Ring,
Just
ring.
spinning around.
Give it a little chain that you can pull and makes it a little cheap sound. Nice. Like a birthday card you open up.
But it's an Xbox.
Amazing.
Good opportunities. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. One last question that at a time we thought we might be celebrating Halo a little bit more on this here episode of the Xbox Drive, episode 343. We did ask if anybody wanted to talk about that. Here I am with Fee. Kevin Ainsworth has a question for you, I think specifically, Fiona.
Okay.
He says, what do you care more about, Halo campaign or multiplayer? And why is the answer campaign? I don't like you can't play first person shooters, so really.
Here's the thing. I'm going to answer your question.
Oh, please.
I have never in my life, up until I think last year or the year before, I had never played campaign for Halo.
Oh,
ever.
wow.
I only did it specifically for, funny enough, friend of the show, Mario Rivera, for his Halo series that he did. He did a limited series where I had to play I think it was Halo 4. It was a trial and tribulation to say the least because it was not working. But what I really enjoy about Halo is the multiplayer. I got to do a lot of that when I was in high school. I had so many game nights where I would just be hanging out with friends from like the night till the morning, and we would just like order a bunch of pizzas. We'd be sitting in a friend's basement
Best.
and just playing Halo. And I didn't know the story. All I knew was I was on a team. I was the person who drove the Warthog. I killed people with my Warthog. People did not like me because I killed them with my Warthog. And it was so much fun. And then I don't know the name of it, but it's the mode where you become this kind of like orb and you can take control of a specific item on the map.
Oh.
So I don't know the name of that, but we did that at one point, and I became the staircase, and I just kept on killing people with the staircase, and everyone did not like me once again because I was killing them with staircases. because they thought that they would be okay in the air vents because they're like, oh, Fiona can't get us in here. I don't know how I slipped an entire staircase into an air vent, but your girl
What a
did it,
wild
and I
mode.
killed
Holy
people.
crap.
It was wild, and like those were just like the fun times and the things that when I think of Halo, I think of the multiplayer.
Yeah.
And this wasn't online, this was all local co-op, like not local co-op, it was definitely not co-op. But there was like a lot of local games that I had with my friends. And so no, I haven't followed the Halo series. I do believe that it's completely like it's a very beloved game, and honestly, Sean, if I had played Halo, I would have loved to speak about Halo tonight, but I'm like, I do not know what, like, I was like, am I making a game show, or we're gonna be sitting here and I'm gonna be like, Sean, here's a question about Halo.
Yeah.
But I honestly, like, one, I just want to say this has been a fabulous way to end the week. I
Yeah.
loved, this was a great way to like just having a conversation with you.
Yes.
But yeah,
Tons to talk about. Games, announcements, like demos, all the things. This has been incredible. I have like such a weird relationship, I would say, with Halo before we close here, because
yeah,
like I've played it quite a lot, but I don't have everything. This is just me with most stuff. Like I don't have everything memorized. I don't have I didn't do wait, no, I've done LAN parties with it, so that's been pretty great. But one thing I'll say though about Halo is that most people disagree with me on my take on the campaigns, which is I think Halo 4's campaign is really fun. I think that game is stupidly gorgeous. That people forget it was on a 360 and it looked amazing. I think Halo 5's campaign is way better than anybody thinks, but that's me. I am alone on that island, and it is. I don't care. It's fine. I've got flora and fauna to sustain myself on this island. It's all good. I think that game is super fun. Flawed, but still good. But yeah, I think for me, I've enjoyed playing through the campaigns of these games. And I'll throw another hot take while we're talking about Halo. I think the level design in Halo 1, especially Combat Evolved, pretty bad, actually. Where the hell are you supposed to go? But it's all hidden by the fact that you're probably playing with a friend, and it's still like futuristic and like something you never really played before. But yeah, it's some of those are a little tricky to go back to. But the loudest I've ever really been is just playing multiplayer with friends, especially like the first LAN party I really went to was Halo. Some of my favorite memories was having two Xboxes in the same house, which felt like going to the future. At my parents' house on the main floor, we had an Xbox connected to the TV, and then a 50-foot. One of my friends brought a 50-foot Ethernet cable to run down the stairs and connect to the other Xbox in the basement, and playing 4v4 that way, which was hilarious because you got the kill and you heard the guy scream upstairs. So you kind of like like IRL proximity chat. It was just amazing. So shout out to Halo here as we quickly celebrate episode 343, of course, 343 developing Halo, and I've got to figure out a way to play Halo Infinite with people because apparently it's still good. And to my point about commenting on games that have a narrative that we're not actually playing ourselves, I feel like I should probably play Infinite multiplayer again because, again, maybe a hot take. I think the Halo Infinite campaign was really fun. I had a great time with it, and people forget that a lot of people were celebrating and like, oh yeah, they did it with Halo Infinite. It's really good. And then other narratives took over, and my point is proven once again. So, shout out to Halo.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that would be a lot of fun. Who knows? Maybe Extra Life. Maybe we just bring a bunch, find a way to
That'd
play
be
it.
So good. Holy crap.
I
That's
would
the
risk it
answer.
all. I would play it at like I love LAN parties. That's something I'm really excited about. Is like that was something that always brought me like such like happiness and nostalgia because Sean, you haven't been in a hot room until you've been sitting in a LAN. So just wait, 5 computers on a summer day playing World of Warcraft, and I was sitting in a beanbag chair for 5 hours while just like I had the
beanbag chair.
I got stuck on the beanbag chair. I was sitting on the floor with like my lap, like I had the computer in front of me and the screen, and then I had like a keyboard across my lap, and then I had to get a book to like use as the mouse, and we just had so much fun. And I love just 10 out of 10 LAN parties. Like yes, I love playing online, but like together.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, we played. I think it was Warcraft. I don't think it was Starcraft. Me and my brothers at my parents' house over Christmas holidays. We set up a little LAN party and played Warcraft 2 together, and it was so funny because we couldn't get it working, and then we realized it was actually my parents' network, and it worked if we all tethered to like my cell phone data plan, and that's how we played Warcraft 2 LAN party. It was like it was the future but the past all at the same time, like this cell phone data plan tethering to 3 laptops playing this old MS-DOS game. Oh, the CD-ROM game from back in the day. Oh man, I have been in a room though with a bunch of PCs without air conditioning because 1 year at Extra Life. This shouldn't scare people from coming to Extra Life because we're at a different venue now. But 1 year, might have been 2022, I think. The building just shut off all this air circulation at a certain. It was some sort of like security feature because nobody's really supposed to be in the building, and we were, and there were probably 70 of us, and half the room had gaming PCs just pumping heat into the space. So it was smelling good, and we were all, you get that glaze over you when you're just the sweaty glaze and the shine. We were all looking and smelling our best at Extra Life. But yeah, the more you talk about it, we got to figure out a way to like maybe take shifts. Everybody's gonna hate me for saying something like this, guys. 48 hours, actually, like 24 hours isn't enough. We gotta go like 12 hours more. I can't do the math right now, of course, on how many that is. Somewhere between 24 and 48. 36. Is that what it is? How about we do that? 36 hours for the kids.
I like it.
Because we're going to have time for Warcraft, Starcraft, Final Fantasy, Halo, Rocket League, Fall Guys, all that. You can play Lethal Company if you want for a few minutes. Like that's that's fine.
Sean, you're going to play Lethal Company again. That will be one of the goals,
God,
is
help
get
me.
you to play Lethal Company for 1
a
hour.
large donation to the Extra Life campaign. That
1
that
hour,
will
guys.
that will do it. Yeah, we can do it. But again, we need more hours. We need more time. So Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team, phoenixoverdrive.com. Guys, go join the team. Let us know if you need more information. You can join the Discord. There's a channel dedicated to it. We're all planning our trips. I'm going to be on a train going down to Rome, New York. So if this at all sounds fun to you, the benefit is it's all for the kids. We raise a ton of money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, as this has quickly turned into a short plug for Extra Life. But we're all going to be together. We're all going to be playing games, raising money, giving away prizes, all that stuff. Now that the showcase is behind us, now that Summer Game Fest is done, it's pretty much like all in on Extra Life. We're going to be honing in our efforts on that very, very soon. But Fiona, did you have any other final closing thoughts, any other topics that we would like to cover on this epic-sized episode of the Xbox Drive?
I know, it has been quite the episode. I love this really short episode that you
I
and
know.
I have accomplished.
There's only 2 of us. There's nothing to cover.
No, exactly. We have nothing to talk about. We just sat here in silence for just a few minutes.
Can you imagine? Just twiddling our thumbs. I think we talked about your demos for the first third of this episode, so
we sure
that's
did.
pretty great.
Because you know what? I just love talking about demos.
Oh, yeah.
And indie games definitely need love, and I am so excited to play even more this weekend. So next week, you're going to get a part 2 of Fee's Demo Corner, where I take over and I just talk about my demos, while Mitch and Bowza are like, oh, I don't...
They're going to take another week off. They're like, we're good.
Yeah, they're just like, man...
We'll see you in July.
Yeah, by all means. No, I'm just so excited because there's just so many opportunities. So once again, I can't stress this enough. Even if you go to only play one of them, go play a demo. You don't even have to play the demos I played. Go play demo. Like, just look at the list, find one that like resonates
go to Next
with
Fest,
you.
Wholesome Games Directs. All the showcases have spaces on Steam. I gotta check it out on Xbox. They gotta have something on Xbox for this.
They have to.
If we ran Xbox.
If we ran Xbox. If you need any recommendations, feel free to reach out to me. I can to point you in the right direction. I know this is the unofficial PC game, PC podcast too, but you know what? Here we are. We love it. We love to see it. Give indie games some love. And I think that's pretty much it. I think this was last weekend was phenomenal. I had such a fantastic weekend. Honestly, it was so motivating and it got me so excited to like work on even more stuff. I've been doing way too many streams this week. I think I did 4. I didn't want like literally, I think it was on, was Monday or was it Sunday? I did a 7.5 hour stream.
Hell yeah.
Because I was just like, I just want to play demos and I just want to play games and have fun with my friends. And just talk about just random stuff on the side as well. So it's just really motivating, and it's been really, like, it's been super awesome. And thank you everyone who sent us love, who hung out with us. It was such a treat to be able to talk to a lot more of you over the weekend.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for the love in the Discord, because I've been seeing, like, Hoppel listed every single demo I played. He went and made a list and he posted it in the Discord. I'm like,
documentation. Whoa. I love it. Thank you, Hoppel.
A person after my
absolute
own heart.
MVP. That's really cool.
I love writing notes. You guys have no idea. Maybe someday I'll release my notes, but I wrote way too much.
Release
stuff.
the notes, please.
Release the notes. I write
notes.
A lot. Maybe a Patreon exclusive. Maybe you guys get to see my, like, just my brain just explode on an Excel sheet for a little bit.
I'm telling you. We are pushing the bounds as far as like what the Discord can do and what the website, like, sometimes we just need to write an article, you know. Sometimes that maybe 2024 2025 goal. But
yeah.
Fiona, before I go ahead and thank all of our amazing patrons, for those who have been around for a long time, before I thank everybody who supports us on Patreon, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you on the internet? When you talk about these streams, where can they find you streaming? Where are all the things?
People can find me over on twitch.tv/Zoranix, where I sit down with currently just a PNG tuber, which is just in my emote, because I, like, especially after this week, it was just very nice to be able to just talk and have the main focus be the demos. And it's just been an absolute blast. So come over and check me out over there. We talk about random silly things. People throw me complete things off guard, and then I just completely get distracted for a little bit, and maybe I do a deep dive and talk about things and lore and who knows, just because people love doing that to me. Thank you to my mods. I love you dearly.
I was gonna say thank you to my mom.
I mean, thanks to my mom too. The moment that my mom finds my Twitch channel, I'm shutting it down.
My parents know our Twitch channel. My dad was saying it looks like you guys had fun over at the Summer Game Fest. So, yeah, it was very nice. Yeah.
Man, no, I say that with love. My sister knows my Twitch, and other family members check it out as well. So definitely go check me out over there. You can also find me on Twitter, where I post stuff. And I post really silly meme stuff recently, especially about Grave Season, which is a game that I will talk about at a later date when they have an actual demo for it. But yeah, check me out over there. There's other places that you can find content that I've made, but we've talked about it earlier, and we might mention it at the end of the podcast. So here we are.
Teaser. Don't give them everything. Yeah.
No,
nice. I like it. Cool. As for me, you can find me on Twitter, and my gamer tag is Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants, just like my Steam friend, or friend name, or whatever you call it on Steam. You can add me there and find all the games I'm adding to my wish list, apparently. And whenever I launch a demo and all that nonsense happens. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We had a lively chat, which was cool. Shout out to everybody who's been joining the Discord. It is free. The links are in the show notes. There have been just a wave of people coming on in. It's great. The water's warm. Everybody's friendly. And it's very cool. So thank you, everybody, for joining us there. Fiona, I think you're going to be featured in our exclusive content over at patreon.com very soon. So if you guys ever have any questions for Fiona, there may be an opportunity for you to ask her literally anything, and she's just going to answer it there at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, which is an amazing way for me to transition over and thank everybody. Damn near 100 people over there at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And I want to give a very, very special thank you to our ultimate producers, Jonathan Brown, who does the music for this show and the PlayStation Drive, and a whole bunch of other amazing tunes that you can find at linktree/pme.jib, Purple Monkey Entertainment, Spotify, Apple Music, and everything. You guys, go check it out. You owe it to yourself. Treat yourself with some Purple Monkey music. And of course, Cwagmire, who's having an amazing vacation that you can check out in our Discord as well. And Cwagmire wants to remind you that the best babes are Xenobabes. Thank you to our platinum producers, the one and only Robby Bobby Miller, Tim Paullin, Smokin Joe, and Toxic, and our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave, BobLoblaw, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, CowboyDangerD, CrocoKyle, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Drellesh, Emily O'Kelly, Hoppel, Yon32, Patrice Mallette, Peje EP, Samuel Nessling, Shane Erickson, Tech Mike, and Tim Aulph, and Fiona's bopping of the head got me every time. I'm like, I got to figure out another way to say these names. I'm just bopping. It's too, I gotta change it up. So thank you to everybody for supporting us at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. That is one of the biggest ways that you can help us get to Extra Life and put on an amazing show. It helped us do a great job for Summer Game Fest, or at least we think it was good. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us there. Until next week, we miss you, Mitch. We miss you, Bowza. Thank you, Fee. Thank you, me. And thank you to all of you for listening to episode 343 of the Xbox Drive. We'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye. See the end. This is the end. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Xbox Drive. Now, before you drive off, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow Carpool Gaming on socials. Don't forget that we've got some awesome Xbox Drive merch on carpoolgaming.com, and you can also support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/carpoolgaming for exclusive content. Links to everything are in the description. We'll see you next week.